At Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio, the New York Mets play the Cleveland Indians. Friday Night Baseball is presented by Jeep. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Jeep, now celebrating its 75th anniversary. By T-Mobile, get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By People's United Bank N.A., see what know-how can do for you. And by StubHub, looking for great seats, head to StubHub, the official ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. It was 69 years ago today that Jackie Robinson became the first African-American to play in the major leagues and changed American society forever. But here in Cleveland, 81 days later, Larry Doby, the pride of Paterson, New Jersey, became the first African-American to play in the American League. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cleveland. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open a 9-game road trip with the first of 3 against the Indians. And the Mets will begin this series with a little different look in their batting order. With the offense struggling, Terry Collins has moved Michael Conforto up to the 3-hole.
Well, you got a DH here in the weekend series, and I've always said that Conforto would be the future number 3 hitter in this lineup, and it has now come to pass. He's here for the first time tonight in the 3-hole. He has tremendous patience and a great knowledge of the strike zone for a kid of his youth and experience. I think it's a position that he's not going to relinquish for quite some time.
Well, with the Mets coming to Cleveland, it means homecomings, not just for you, but also for the shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera, and for tonight's starting pitcher Bartolo Colon, who began his career as an Indian 19 years ago.
In 1997, won 75 games for these Indians. This is his second start, coming off a really tough luck 1-0 loss to the Phillies back at Citi Field. 6-4 lifetime against these Indians. He's going for his number 1 win of the season this year.
The Indians, like the Mets, rely on terrific starting pitching, and they'll throw their number 4 starter, Cody Anderson, who had a terrific rookie year last year.
7-3, came up in the middle of the season, had a terrific September, was American League Pitcher of the Month with 5 victories. He's had 1 start so far this season, 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, and no decision.
Every player in baseball wearing number 42 tonight in honor of Jackie Robinson, but we salute Larry Doby as well. It's the Mets and the Indians from Cleveland. All the action coming your way on SNY. First, watch the Mets take on the Giants at 1:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a pair of Curtis Granderson baseball socks, courtesy of East Coast Power and Gas. Plus, all kids can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Met Dash, presented by Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Let's take a look at the road ahead, presented by GMC. Start of a 9-game road trip today. 4 o'clock game tomorrow on Pix 11. 1 o'clock Sunday on SNY. 3 games in Philly and then 3 in Atlanta, where perhaps the Braves will have won a game before the Mets arrive in town.
You do not want to play a winless team.
0-9 to date. Jim Thome with his familiar point that produced over 600 home runs. Mets and Indians, first pitch coming right up. NY is brought to you by Jeep, now celebrating its 75th anniversary, a lifetime of freedom in a world of adventure. 25-year-old Cody Anderson taking the mound for his second start of the season for the Indians, who've begun the year 4-3. Already had 3 rainouts in the early season. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup with the DH in force. Yoenis Cespedes, who made that leaping dive into the stands on Wednesday, will sit out. His legs are a little sore and just DH, so that leaves Michael Conforto in left field, and Alejandro De Aza gets a start in center field tonight, just his second start of the year as he bats ninth.
And there's the Indians starting pitcher, Cody Anderson. Was a 14th round pick back in 2011 for the Tribe. 7-3, as we mentioned in the Open. We don't want to talk too much about my horrible Open. 7-3 last year. Had a terrific finish, as I said, in September. Was 5-0 in American League Pitcher of the Month. And we'll take a quick look at the Indians defense, brought to you by Coors Light. And look who's out in right field. Marlon Byrd just hit his first home run yesterday for the Cleveland Indians. On the infield, Francisco Lindor finished second in the American League Rookie of the Year balloting. And Yan Gomes, excuse me, behind the plate.
A couple of former Mets on the field for the Indians today. 38-year-old Marlon Byrd, 37-year-old Juan Uribe. Uribe, as always, with a big smile on his face.
I was kind of hoping the Mets would re-sign Juan.
Curtis Granderson leads off and takes the first pitch up and away, and we're underway. Cody Anderson last year 7-3, 3.05 ERA in 15 starts after being called up in June. No decision in his first start against the White Sox. And Granderson takes a strike 1-1 on an overpowering strikeout staff with the likes of Corey Kluber and Carlos Carrasco and Danny Salazar. Anderson's a different kind of animal, not a strikeout pitcher, more of a ground ball type. And he promptly gets the ground ball foul from Granderson. That's 1-2.
Well, they got him on an average of 93, a little over 93 miles per hour on the average on his fastball. So you don't have to throw hard to win in this game. And you know what? Sometimes I wonder, 93 is plenty.
93 now doesn't seem to be the same as 93 10 or 15 years ago. 93 now feels more like an average fastball rather than anything that will overpower people. Granderson gets a piece of the fastball at 95. Last year, Anderson averaged just 4.3 strikeouts per 9 innings, and among major league starters, that was the second lowest strikeout ratio. Only Mark Burley, who you never think of as a strikeout pitcher, had a lower one.
Just bring on the wins, Gary, and he did last year, 7-3.
Two and two to Granderson. David Wright on deck, and then Michael Conforto. Mets are in Cleveland for the first time since September of 2013. Mets are 8-4 lifetime against the Indians since interleague play began. And the fastball catches the inside corner, and Granderson caught looking to start the night.
Good up and in fastball, but 2 strikes. You don't have to throw hard, Gary. When you come inside with the four-seamer here and you just put a little extra on it, it catches the hitter by surprise. But you do it with 2 strikes, the hitter's protecting. He's more vulnerable in.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now David Wright. David went 3 for 10 in the just completed series against Miami. And it would appear that for the time being at least that Terry Collins is going to stick with David in that 2-hole.
Well, David's drawing walks. That's one thing he's doing there. Everybody's struggling at the plate. David hitting 280 coming in.
It's one down the line, slicing toward the corner, and foul. Well, the Mets as a team are hitting just 194. That is dead last in the National League. 2.5 runs per game, last in the National League. 2 home runs in the first 8 games, last in the National League. You get the idea.
And the slugging percentage, of course, would follow suit. They are last in the National League in slugging, and we're not piling it on. This team will come out of it. It's just off to a tough start.
Hit right at the shortstop Lindor, and that's the second out. Well, the Mets have especially struggled early in ball games. As a team, they've scored just 2 runs total in the first 3 innings over their first 8 games. So that's 24 innings, 2 runs. So they're not getting off to strong starts, to say the least. So here's Michael Conforto, elevated to the number 3 hole. 5th time in his career he's hit 3rd, but the first time this season in his first full big league year.
Notice that they are pitching, Michael, behind in the count with a lot of off-speed stuff. You know, you're a young hitter, you get 3-1, 2-0, 1-0. You're looking for that fastball. They're not giving it to him.
He hits one deep to center field. Back goes Naquin to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here! Michael Conforto elevated to the 3 hole and promptly pays dividends with his first home run of the year, and the Mets jump out to a 1-0 lead. Dead central for Conforto. And the Mets, who have been home run starved in the early going, get one right off the bat.
Fastball right down the pipe. Didn't sink, right into the fat of the bat, and the shoulders in. I want to see him continue to go up the middle, Garrett, not try to pull. Very strong, beautiful swing.
So Conforto gives the Mets the early lead. Now NYN Cespedes, who's DHing today. Cespedes, remember, had his dive into the stands on Wednesday and then later got hit in the ribs by a pitch, so he's a little banged up. Wanted to play today, but Terry Collins felt DH was the better role for him, and given the availability of that, that's the direction they decided to go.
Well, the way I look at it, he's playing. Gary's in the lineup.
Breaking ball from Anderson. That's 1-2.
Very compact swing. Look at the eyes on the ball. That's just after contact.
That's it out to center shallow. Naquin started back, now coming on. Out goes the second baseman, and it lands between them. Naquin's first step was back, and that ended up costing him. Could not make up the ground, and Cespedes winds up with a pop fly single.
Called off the second baseman here. We got all 42s out here in honor of Jackie Robinson. We are playing an American League team, a team we don't see very often, but Naquin did call him off.
I mean, it was Naquin's ball all the way,
Yes.
but he just couldn't close the ground, playing deep and starting back. And so the Mets have their second hit of this opening inning, and it continues for Lucas Duda. Duda 6 for 26 to start the year, looking for his first home run, and they put on the full shift against him. Cespedes at first. That's Mike Napoli holding him on. In the Indians shift, they keep Juan Uribe on the left side of the infield. A lot of teams these days are leaving their shortstop alone on the left side, but the Indians are not doing it that way. They're just moving everybody over.
I think Lucas has become such a pull hitter, Gary, that they're putting all their best defenders on that side of the field.
And he grounds one into the shift, and there's Lindor to sweep it up. And he throws out Duda to end the inning. But the Mets strike first. Michael Conforto, given a bigger role, takes advantage and gives Bartolo Colon the lead. Check out the starting lineup for the Indians tonight, brought to you by Hyundai. Rajai Davis with his 6th different major league team. Marlon Byrd with his 10th different major league team. We got some well-traveled guys. Francisco Lindor, the terrific sophomore, he is hitting 3rd in the order these days for the Indians, who are missing one of their best hitters in Michael Brantley, still coming back from shoulder surgery.
Well, Bartolo Colon, his 2nd start, 3rd appearance. Remember that relief appearance in Kansas City in that series. Lost a tough one his last time out. Ryan Howard solo home run did him in.
Rajai Davis leads off and takes off the plate for ball 1. Davis played in Detroit last year. 6 for 26 to start the year. And he flies one out to right center. And Alejandro De Aza gives way to Granderson, who puts it away for the first out.
And we'll take a look at your Metsy Lexus defense. De Aza getting a start out in center field. Cespedes doing the DHing. Same infield, starting infield, Duda, Walker. Cabrera makes his return to Cleveland, and d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Here's Jason Kipnis. Kipnis, a 2-time All-Star. Had a terrific year last year, hit .303 after a down 2014. Colon pours one over, 1-1. For Bartolo Colon, this is the 85th game he has started in this ballpark, which he called home for the start of his career. And quickly is ahead on Kipnis, 1-2. It's the 5th time he started here as a visitor. Most recently, he was here with the A's 3 years ago.
Kipnis had himself a nice season last year, hit .303 in 141 games.
Out to left, chasing Conforto back. It's over his head and off the big wall. Heading for second is Kipnis, and he's in standing with an opposite field double.
Well, you heard the crack of the bat, and this was hit solidly and taking the ball where it's pitched. Well done. Very, very high, not quite Fenway wall in left field here at Progressive Field.
So the tying run at second with 1 out, and here is Francisco Lindor, who came to the big leagues last year, incredibly highly touted and did nothing but exceed expectations, both defensively and offensively. Switch hitter. Takes the pitch outside, ball 1. Lindor came up with a reputation as being a terrific defender and a line drive hitter, but he surprised everybody by hitting 12 home runs last year in just 99 games.
Stole 12 bases too, got speed, only caught twice in 99 games.
And he hits one in the air to center, playable for De Aza. Kipnis tagging at second. That's the second out, and Kipnis will stay put. 2 out. In any other year, Francisco Lindor would have been an easy Rookie of the Year, but last year was the year Carlos Correa came on the scene in Houston, and so Lindor had to settle for second. Sometimes those awards are as much about when as what you do.
Timing is everything.
And you only get one shot at Rookie of the Year. You know, if you don't win a Gold Glove or MVP this year, you get a chance next year.
That's right.
Rookie of the Year, one chance. Here's Mike Napoli. Napoli now 34 years old. He played last year for the Red Sox and the Rangers. Hit just .224 with 18 home runs. 5 years removed now from his best season, that huge year he had in Texas when they went to the World Series in 2011. But Napoli has been in the right place at the right time. He's been in the postseason now 7 of the last 8 years. Can you hear the drum?
Yes.
John Adams is still banging that drum
Where's he banging at it from?
There he is. Way back there at the back of the seats, right under the scoreboard and left.
He was, I believe, when I played my 1 year here in Cleveland, was over in the right field fence.
Of course, you were in a different ballpark, right?
Yes.
When you played?
Yep. I was in the ballpark where Jim Brown ran to fame.
Municipal Stadium, the mistake by the lake. Or as Oil Can Boyd said, that's what happens when you build a ballpark next to the ocean.
Freshwater ocean.
Yeah. He's been banging that drum a long time. His forearms are very well developed.
Is that his spouse, you think, next to him? She's got to be impervious. Yep. Yep. But why don't you come to the game with me? You can watch me beat on the drum.
To Napoli, and he drives one to left. That's a base hit. Kipnis around third. He's being waved home. Here comes Conforto's throw, and it goes off the cutoff man, deflects away, and down to second base goes Napoli. The Indians have tied the game at 1.
Now, that could very easily be an advancement on an error and a throw there, Gare, because he hits the cutoff man. This is probably one of the worst throws I've seen Conforto make. He's always made nice throws. He did not get anything on this ball. And that should be an E7 on the advancement to second base. Nice hitting, fastball up, too much middle.
And the official score agrees with you, Keith. It will be an error on Conforto, allowing Napoli to advance. So Napoli with an RBI single drives in his 4th run of the year, and just like that, the Indians strike back. And now Carlos Santana, the DH, which has been his primary role early in the season. Santana came to the big leagues as a catcher, then they moved him to third. They play him now at first and DH him.
This is not a team that walks a lot, but he is one of those guys that draws walks. Walked over 100 times the last 2 seasons.
He hits this one deep to right down the line, headed toward the pole. 2-run homer. Carlos Santana snuck it right inside the right field foul pole for a 2-run shot. And the Indians lead it 3-1.
Well, this was a no-doubter.
I'm not sure if it was fair, though. The umpires are already coming together, and Terry Collins is coming out to question whether this ball was actually fair.
Well, it's right down the pipe again and crushed.
The first base umpire is Dan Iasonia. He called it fair all the way, but that was clearly a foul ball. Look at the replay. It's clearly to the right of the pole, and the umpires are going to overrule this if they have to go to replay or not.
What is going on?
So take those 2 runs off the board. It's just a matter of time before the umpires overrule the call.
Someone take charge here. You've got the veteran behind the plate, Dale Scott, home plate umpire. He's the crew chief here. Take charge.
And they signal foul ball. They don't even have to go to replay. Clearly, Dale Scott, who has as good an angle as the first base umpire, Iasonia, who made the call, simply overruled it on vision. And frankly, the runner on second, Napoli, he stopped at third base because he knew it was a foul ball.
And did you see Santana? Santana was only a quarter of a way down the line. He knew that it was foul.
So Colon is able to breathe a little better.
Everybody but the umpire.
Terry Francona out to talk to Dale Scott and trying to ask why they didn't go to replay rather than simply overruling it on the field. And
my fault.
Whatever Dale Scott said to Terry Francona satisfied him. There's your umpiring crew tonight. A couple of veterans with Scott behind the plate, Davidson at second. Dana DeMuth and Jerry Lane's crews are in the replay bunker back in New York. So it remains a 1-1 game. A 1-1 count to Santana with Napoli back to second base and 2 out. Colon trying to settle in here, but he's given up several hard hit balls here in the first inning. And Santana takes high, 2-1.
The game of inches, Gare, as they say.
I mean, that seemed like more than inches, but sometimes the naked eye can be deceived.
That's right. Oh, he wanted to come up and call that a strike. Nice changeup sinking.
So Colon behind in the count, 3-1. He's yet to issue a walk this season. Last year at one point went 48 innings without allowing a walk. It's not a big part of his game, but with first base open and a right-hand hitter on deck, we'll see how much he challenges Santana here with Napoli at second and 2 out. And he left it outside, and there's the first walk of the season for Colon. And now the Indians have 2 men on.
A tactical walk.
Well, and also when you get a guy like Santana, who, as you said, is inclined to take a walk, it's not like you're going to get him to chase it out of the strike zone.
Well, he's also a guy with some pop too, Gary. He has hit 20, 27, and 19 of the last 3 seasons.
So here is Yan Gomes, the Indians catcher, with 2 out and 2 on. When we first saw Gomes with the Blue Jays, it looked like he was going to be a utility player, but he has become a full-time catcher and one of the best defensive catchers in the American League. And he's won a Silver Slugger along the way too. So the 28-year-old Gomes, who's was the first ever major leaguer born in Brazil, has forged himself a nice career. Napoli at second, Santana at first with 2 out. And Gomes fouls back the fastball. 91 from Colon. 0-2.
Colon's been up with his fastball, Gary. He's going to have to get it down. He's not going to win upstairs. He hasn't got the velocity that he had as a young man. There's Dan Warthen.
Colon's first start of the year was a terrific one Saturday against the Phillies, allowed just 1 run in 6 innings. But trying to settle in here as that ball goes over the railing into the Mets dugout, and somebody got nicked. Wilmer Flores taking one off the forearm, and he'll require some attention. Might have got him right on the elbow.
Oh, they're laughing at him. They're giving it to him a little bit.
Balls so rarely go in dugouts anymore because of the fencing. You know, back in your day, you had to stay alert because that ball would come in there routinely.
What was very dangerous about Shea Stadium, all the dugouts, Gary, is that they're sunken. So your head is at kneecap level from the players on the people walking on the field. So when a ball comes in the dugout, it's coming in head hunting.
Again, the 0-2, and that just missed the corner. Well, the fences started going up in front of dugouts in the last, 15 years? It was after Matt Keogh got hit during a spring training game sitting in the dugout and suffered a serious injury that teams started putting the fences in front of the dugouts.
Well, they've got the fans so much closer to the field today that they need protection.
Well, that one's going to leave a mark.
He's got a little walnut.
Lagares going to protect him. Slider misses up and into Gomes, and it's 2-2. Well, it's good to have a Gold Glove around, although I don't know what Juan's doing with a first baseman's mitt. He'll be hearing about that for a while, won't he? Hard-working first inning for Colon. His 27th pitch coming up. 2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Gomes. And he struck him out with a fastball to end the inning. So Colon gets his first strikeout. The Indians get the game tied on Napoli's hit, and it's 1-1 after 1. April 29th, when the Mets face off against the Giants at 7:10. All fans in attendance will receive a 2015 National League Champs t-shirt courtesy of 1-800-Flowers.com. For tickets, visit Mets.com/free shirt Fridays. Beautiful day in Cleveland today. Temperature was around 60. Upper 50s as we start the game tonight. A little light breeze blowing in. Much better than the weather they had for their first homestand, the Indians, when it was wintry and it was snowing.
I remember my lone opening day here at the in Cleveland in 1990, and it was snowing all day, and it was going to get worse. They ran us out there. It was against the Yankees. Had no opening day ceremonies. No one lined up. They just played the game. They wanted to get 5 in. It was a full house. Didn't last an inning.
Neil Walker leading off the second. Strokes one into shallow right center, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Good 2-strike hitting by Walker, and the Mets have the leadoff man on in the second.
Well, Walker comes into the game and get a little out in front, a little change up there. Let go with one hand, kept his hands back. Nice balance.
So the Mets have their third hit against Cody Anderson. And now the former Indian Asdrubal Cabrera, who spent the first 7 years of his career playing here at Progressive Field, back in his old haunts. Cabrera had some tremendous years playing for the Indians.
Had his best years as an Indian.
Two-time All-Star. 2011 he had 25 home runs, drove in 92 runs.
He has been everything but steady, everything and steady at shortstop so far this year. Nice glove.
He rips one down the line. That's a fair ball going to the corner. Walker on his way to third. Bird gets over to dig it out. Walker being waved home. The relay throw by Kipnis to the plate is not in time. Walker scores on the double by Cabrera, and the Mets are back in front 2-1. Good relay throw by Kipnis and a very close play. And we'll see whether the Indians will wind up challenging this.
The relay throws at least a one hopper to Kipnis, and a perfect throw. It's very close. I think he beat it.
Yeah, I think he beat it too, but just barely.
Oh, it's close as it can get. That is close. And I believe we're going to have a challenge.
Yep, Terry Francona is challenging. Boy, it's really, really hard to tell.
Is it enough to overturn?
The foot was there, but was the foot in the air or was it on the plate? Right there.
So you don't know when
it's hard to see whether the foot actually touched the plate or whether it was over the plate before the tag came. So it'll go under review. The two crews that have been in the Chelsea bunker all week, led by Dennon Demuth and Jerry Lane, get to put the hair's breadth on this call. It was really well handled by Kipnis because it wasn't an easy throw for him to pick up from Bird, and he made a perfect throw to home.
One hopper, easy for the catcher to make. Oh, on the fly, excuse me. It's hard to tell that angle.
Well, either way, it's going to be a double for Cabrera.
I am wondering if Cabrera could have advanced to third on the throw home. And here we got a little blow up. Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, Gary.
It could be out.
I think it's OUT. All right, let's make a Custer decision here.
Well, they keep showing replays on the scoreboard here, and at first all the fans seem to think that he was definitely out. Now it seems as though there's some equivocating.
They may not have enough conclusive enough.
Well, that,
I tell you what, that's an OUT, isn't it?
Looks like it.
Don't they have this? That should be a, right, that's conclusive enough. Is there a lot of hand wringing going on? Come on. Make a decision. Kluber's not throwing, too. It's a big break. He should probably do some tossing here.
And let's see.
Anderson, excuse me.
Now confirmed that they overturn the call and say that Walker is out at the plate.
Can't argue it. He was out, and that was just very good fundamentals. Relay to the second baseman and a good relay home.
Terry Francona wins his challenge. 2 minutes and 34 seconds of headset time, and added all the other attendant delays, and now we can get back to action. Run off the board. Walker out. Play goes 9-4-2 for the first out of the inning. Cabrera at second and Travis d'Arnaud the batter.
Well, we're seeing what's going on with Cabrera here. Could he have advanced on the relay home? Now his back's to the play. He doesn't need to pick up. You know what? Tough play. Tough play. It's not a play where you need to really pick up your third base coach there. You can look over your shoulder and see what's going on.
d'Arnaud grounds one to short. Lindor will make the play on d'Arnaud as Cabrera goes to third. 2 out.
For New York, hitting 9, the center fielder, Alejandro De Aza.
So 2 away. Runner at third. Now De Aza the batter. Alejandro making his second start for the Mets, playing center field tonight with Cespedes DHing. Looking for his first hit as a Met. He's gone 0 for 7.
Had a great spring. Got a lot of playing time, but you know what? He's the only left-hander on the bench most of the time, and as a result, he's not going to get a lot of starts.
Mets have just a 3-man bench tonight. They're carrying an extra pitcher and with a DH in effect. Only Flores, Lagares, and Plawecki on the bench tonight. Of course, in the American League, you don't use your bench all that much.
No.
Curtis Granderson would be next. And De Aza hits it well out to left center. Naquin going back near the wall. He makes the catch and smacks it hard. Nice play, Tyler Naquin, and that retires the side. The rookie Naquin taking an extra base hit away from De Aza and keeping the Mets off the board. Great play and a replay combined to keep the Mets from scoring. Marlon Byrd, first pitch swinging, launches one foul deep down the left field line and onto the concourse. Marlon now 38 years old with his 10th different major league team. He was on the free agent market and it looked like he was going to go unsigned. And then on March 18th, just a week and a half before the season began, the Indians, who had a need with Michael Brantley and Lonnie Chisenhall on the shelf, signed Byrd, and Marlon had a home run yesterday.
I guess you just hang around. Someone's going to pick you up.
Well, you remember when the Mets got him in was it 2013? He had been released twice the year before that. That's it toward the middle of the diamond, and Bird's got a base hit. One thing about Marlon, he keeps on hitting.
He does. He's a hitter. There's no question.
I mean, last year he had 23 home runs. His season split between the Reds and the Giants.
Too many fastballs in the middle of the plate right now, and up for Bartolo. He's got to get that ball down. He cannot live. No pitcher, hardly any pitcher can live belt level. You're going to get killed.
Now it's Juan Uribe. Mets declined to re-sign Uribe after his run with the Mets late last season. He has yet to receive his National League Championship ring. There was some thought that he would get that when the Mets were here this weekend, but there was a report that he didn't get his ring size submitted in time. So,
oh, that'll do it.
But he'll get his ring eventually. He was, you know, his numbers with the Mets really belie what he did. He hit just .219 in 44 games, but he was such an important piece for the Mets those last couple of months.
He got some big hits too, Gary. And that's just, the statistics are too sterile. He got some big hits.
And he hits this one hard past Cabrera. So the two former Mets get back-to-back hits against Cologne to start the second inning.
Got the fastball, and guess what? It's up and out over the plate.
So Cologne, who did well to limit the damage to just one run in the first inning, finds himself in immediate trouble here in the second. And the number 9 hitter Tyler Naquin will come to bat. Naquin, rookie, first-round pick out of Texas A&M. It's interesting, if you're a Met fan who's been around for a little while, you'll remember that the Mets once took an outfielder in the first round out of Texas A&M. As Naquin drops down the bunt, Cologne's going to go to third with it, gets the out there. Well, with Byrd, who doesn't run that well anymore, going, Cologne knew he had the time on that hard bunt, and they get the lead man.
But also not a good bunt. Too hard and right back to the pitcher. Look at Wright backing off, realizing Cologne can field it. It's okay to bunt the ball hard in this situation, but you're bunting it hard to force the third baseman, in this case David, to come in and vacate third base.
So Naquin unable to advance the runners. Anyway, the Mets drafted an outfielder named Jason Tyner in the first round out of Texas A&M, and in some ways he was like Naquin, a left-hand hitter, lots of speed, not a lot of power. Naquin maybe a little bigger and stronger than Tyner. Here's Rajai Davis with 2 on and 1 out. Davis flied out to right his first time up. See, the Nats put up a 5 spot against Jeremy Hellickson in the first inning tonight. Washington's off to a great start.
Yes.
7-1, which matches the best start for that franchise ever, going back to the 1974 Montreal Expo. 2-0 to Davis.
I was not fearful, it's too strong a word, but when the Nationals took Dusty Baker to be their manager, I thought that went under the radar screen. The importance of that move, a non-player move, was going to make a big difference in the 2016 season. There's a good pitch right there, down, a little changeup, took something off.
I think that Dusty will have a positive impact, but I think that the addition by subtraction might be just as important. In other words, it might not have mattered who took over that job. They needed to change the equation of that clubhouse. And Dusty probably will be the perfect guy for the job. Toward the hole, Cabrera on the backhand, the jump toss, and he gets the out at second. Nicely done by Cabrera for the second out. I thought initially he might go to third with that, with his momentum going that way.
I did also, but just another nice play by Cabrera, who continues to flash the leather. Very solid shortstop. First time we've really got a chance to see him play. He's always been in the American League most of his career, and he can play that position.
Yeah, the only time he'd been in the National League was that brief stint with the Nationals a couple of years ago when they got him at the trading deadline. So now first and third and 2 out. And here's Kipnis, who hit one the other way off the fence in left field his first time up for his second double of the year. Uribe at third, Davis at first. And the breaking ball in the dirt. Rajai Davis is 35 years old, but he can still run, so you have to be wary of that.
Nice block, runner on third, beautiful. Keep that ball in front. Smother it.
There goes Davis. He stops, and d'Arnaud holds onto the ball. Davis looked like he was going and then slammed on the brakes.
I just wouldn't want him running right here. If you look at the defense on the right side of the infield, you got a left-hand hitter up. Look at that hole. You got Walker, who has to play up the middle, double play depth, more towards center field, and that opens that hole between Duda and him.
One and one to Kipnis, and Bart, this is just inside, 2-1.
You know, even though there's 2 outs, no double play in order. Anytime the first baseman's holding a runner on, it opens up that right side of the infield. It's a nice little spot to hit a little ground ball to get a 2-out RBI.
Bartolo signed his first pro contract with the Indians at age 20. It was in 1993, and he was in the big leagues 4 years later. There goes Davis, and no throw by d'Arnaud. Fourth stolen base of the year for Rajai Davis. And now a 3-1 count to Kipnis with Francisco Lindor on deck. That's a very interesting number, isn't it? I don't know if it has any meaning, but maybe he struggles when he can't come to bat. So now 2 in scoring position. The lone behind 3-1 on Kipnis, and he fouls off the fastball.
That's what I like about Bart. He's not afraid to throw the fastball there. Back down 3-1. A guy that took him to the opposite field the first at bat, a double off the wall, and he went right after him with the fastball.
Francisco Lindor hitting third in the order, waiting on deck. Three-two coming, and Kipnis bloops it right, moves back and snags it to end the inning. So Colon able to get out of a jam in the second after leadoff back-to-back hits. 1-1 game in the second. Check out the conversation as Matt Cerrone talks one-on-one with former Met Greg Jeffries. Find out about his time in New York, plus his thoughts on hitting and the current team on the latest Mets blog Q&A cast presented by Citi, part of the SNY.TV blog network.
Greg Jeffries, I wonder what he's up to today.
Probably keeping his bats very clean.
I believe he married a gal from Kentucky. And
Granderson gets under one. And Marlon Byrd drifts over toward the line. And Granderson retired, one out. Well, Bartolo is talking to everybody today. He's talking to the opposing players. He's got stuff going on in his head that he's got to unload to Darno and Worthen. But he never seems perturbed.
he's trying to find it. He's a piece of work.
He really is.
He has fun.
It's been a very strange game so far. Both teams have had runs taken off the board. There's David Wright, who lined out to short his first time.
8 hits already in this game, and we're in the top of the third.
It's appeared to have a run, with Walker scoring for first on Cabrera's double, but that was wiped out by a replay as David strokes one to the left for a base hit. And the Mets have their 5th hit against Cody Anderson. So that's 2 line drives off David's bat tonight.
Doesn't seem to be fooling anybody. Ball down and over the middle again. You saw the catcher bring the glove back over the middle.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Michael Conforto, who cleared the center field fence for his first home run of the year in the opening inning. And as has been the norm in this early season, 3 infielders on the right side against Conforto, who takes a strike.
I just don't understand the pull unless you're going to pitch him in and play him the pull. He'll be getting a lot of off-speed stuff, that's for sure. Been a little bit dropping that back shoulder. I'd like to see him get a little bit more squared up on those shoulders, keep them more parallel to the ground, and that'll make him crush that pitch from the belt up. He's been dropping it a little bit.
Do you think that's because he's a little more home run conscious than he was when he first came up?
I don't know what's running through his mind, to tell you the truth, Gary, but the home runs will come. They're coming up and in now. The home runs will come when you swing level. You get under the ball and it goes a lot further when you get that backspin off the ball, when you just get under it a little bit.
He had 9 home runs as a rookie last year and just 174 at bats, 3 more in the postseason. So it certainly proved that the power is there. And he hit his first home run of this season, his first time up tonight. Off speed pitch from Anderson, misses, 2-2.
Always can't get worried inside. The pitcher's out there making a living too. Sometimes they're going to get in there and get you and break your bat. Still got to go the same approach. Where do I like the ball? Don't look into your weakness. Look into your strength.
Another change up, and it's 3-2.
And here's the first at bat. The ball out over the plate, down, and dead central.
Almost to the shrubbery.
He's got some power.
Just the 3rd home run for the Mets this year, coming in their 9th game. This is a team that figures to hit for power. 3-2 and 1 out. Wright not going, and Conforto badly fooled on yet another changeup from Anderson, and that's the 2nd out.
Well, that's what they're doing with him. They're pitching him as if he is a 10-year veteran. There's a circle change, and he missed twice earlier in his at bat, and here he put it in a good spot.
So Wright was not running with 3-2 and 1 out, and it turns out to be a good thing. So it leaves Cespedes with an at bat with Wright at first and 2 out. Cespedes hit a pop fly to shallow center field that fell in for a hit his first time up. The results starting to come for Cespedes, who went 3 for 10 in the Miami series.
Cespedes has been taking a lot of pitches so far early in this season. I've noticed going up there with just the intent of taking, but he's taking as if he's going to hit. He's just getting a good look.
Canary in his pocket, orange on his sleeves. A little out of sync. You never know what look Yoenis is going to bring to the ballpark on a given day.
No, I'd like to know what his thought process is. I think if I'm red hot, I stick with the color for a while until I go in a slump.
Now, are those just for show, or are those his running gloves?
I have no idea.
I don't know if we showed it last inning when Rajai Davis got on base. He has the oven mitt that he wears when he runs the bases, but different players have different things they put on their hands to protect themselves when they're sliding.
So the one that confounds me is the sunglasses on top of the hat. That confounds me.
Very short lead for Wright, and Cespedes grounds one foul, 1-2. And we have confirmation those are Cespedes' running gloves. Lucas Duda would be next. Cespedes hitting cleanup, with Duda hitting fifth. Had been Cespedes third, Duda fourth, but with Conforto going in the 3-hole, that moves those other two guys down. A little bit high, 2-2.
Laid off that.
Closed captioning for Mets baseball brought to you by Sideline.
That's what they've been working on, Gary. That's the pitch that gives him trouble. That pitch up in his eyes that he can swing at. It's one of the few times I've seen him take it.
If he can lay off the pitch up out of the strike zone, that changes the whole equation.
Well, it's all about knowing your strengths, where you like the ball, where you don't. Most hitters, you look at Kevin Long, the hitting coach, up and in is the toughest pitch to hit. I don't care who you are. It's a pitch you got to learn to lay off. And it's the one pitch for some reason that the umpires tend to call the borderline strike there up and in a ball.
Two from Anderson. And he lays off the cutter, and it's a full count. Well, you know, it stands to reason that, you know, hitters swing at pitches that are closer to their eyes because they can see them better. They just can't hit them. Most hitters, anyway.
In today's game, there's less and less high ball hitters, Gary. They're all basically low ball hitters.
But your eyes are in the same place.
Yes, you have to be very disciplined, Gary. Can't have everything, you know.
Wright will be running 3-2 and 2 out. And Cespedes just got a piece of that to stay alive. If we all had everything, who would play power ball?
Never thought of it that way.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat from Anderson to Cespedes. And again, he just gets a piece.
That's a nubber. That one is a grub worm.
There are your city probables the remainder of the series. Matt Harvey looking for his first win of the year against Josh Tomlin, who gets his first start of the season. Steven Matz trying to bounce back from that ugly start in New York against the former Cy Young Award winner Corey Kluber.
Kluber off to a sluggish start. It's 2 years ago, Cy Young. Last year, 18 losses, most in the American League.
By the way, if you're wondering about Jacob deGrom, Jacob threw an abbreviated bullpen session in Florida today. He'll do it again Sunday. Most likely he's going to miss his start Tuesday in Philadelphia, and the Mets will probably make a roster move with deGrom as he fights back from that lat muscle injury. And another foul ball at the plate by Cespedes. That's 3 in a row that he's fouled off, just getting a bare piece of.
And I stand corrected. So 16 losses that Kluber had last year.
That's enough.
That's plenty.
But his ERA wasn't bad. What was it, 3.65, I think?
Okay.
And still
American League.
Strikeout totals were very impressive.
Big, hard breaking ball.
10th pitch of the at-bat coming, and he finally strikes him out with a breaking ball. So back-to-back strikeouts for Anderson to end the inning. Still 1-1 in the third. Checking with Steve Gelbs. His report tonight is brought to you by Jeep. Steve?
Gary, Mets probably shouldn't feel too badly about getting beaten by Vince Velasquez, Phillies starting pitcher last weekend. Velasquez yesterday, absolutely sensational against the Padres. Complete game shutout, 3-hitter, 16 strikeouts, and no walks. Just the 25th pitcher since 1913 to have 16 strikeouts and no walks in the same game. And how about the uniqueness of Pete Mackanin last night in this day and age? 101 pitches for Velasquez through 8 innings. He sent him out there for the 9th, 11-pitch 9th inning to make Mackanin look good, but Velasquez the one looking really good right now. Mets are going to have someone to deal with for a mighty long time potentially here.
Well, we saw that last week as it's chopped to shortstop by Lindor, and Cabrera throws him out one away. I mean, we were raving about Velasquez when he threw those 6 scoreless against the Mets.
Yes, he throws hard, got a good breaking ball. Remember, early in the game, first 2 innings, he was struggling with his command, and then all of a sudden, in that 3rd inning, he found it and just went right through the Mets order.
Of course, the converse from Velasquez yesterday, the team he shut out was the San Diego Padres, who set a major league record by being shut out for the 5th time in their first 10 games. That had never happened before. Mike Napoli bounces one foul. Napoli drove in the Indians' run with a base hit his first time up. And how about this? Coming into today, the top 2 teams by ERA in the major leagues were the Washington Nationals and the Philadelphia Phillies. Not going so well for the Phillies tonight. They're down 6-0 in the 3rd, but it seems to be a strength with that team, with Aaron Nola and Velasquez, the 2 young starters at the top of their rotation.
Well, the Achilles heel there is their bullpen, but their starting rotation has got a bright future.
That's hit hard, and David with a beautiful backhand stop, and he throws out Napoli. That looked like it was going to be down the line, and David Wright handling a scorcher on the backhand.
Well, he had him played perfectly here. Pull hitter, ripped, nice backhand by David, and then you know you have plenty of time when a ball's hit that hard to make the play or complete the play. Very nice.
Especially with Napoli running, who has very little speed. So that helps out Colon, who's in search of his first easy inning of the night. He'll have to get through Santana, who got credit briefly for a 2-run homer in the first inning before it was correctly overturned and ruled foul. He eventually walked. Santana, out of the Dominican Republic, was first signed by the Dodgers, which meant that he and Terry Collins worked together when Terry was the farm director for the Dodgers. Terry's got a lot of interesting ties to this game, not the least of which Colon back in Cleveland, for whom he made his major league debut. His first ever game for the Indians was against Terry Collins and the Angels out in Anaheim in 1997. Fly ball, shallow right center. And De Aza is there to put it away, and Colon has his first 1-2-3 inning of the day. It took him just 10 pitches to get there. After 3, we're tied at 1. Coors Banquet. It is Jackie Robinson Day, and some great pictures of Jackie back in his basketball days, his wedding day when he married Rachel, the day he signed his contract with Branch Rickey. What a life.
I remember we had Jackie's widow in the booth with us one time when we were talking in between innings, and she spoke so fondly of Branch Rickey.
Saw an interesting stat on Jackie Robinson today. For any position player who started his career after World War II, Jackie Robinson, the games he played for the Dodgers, they had a .609 winning percentage. That's stopped by Uribe playing in the shift, and he throws out Duda one away. It's the 4th highest winning percentage of any player who debuted after World War II. You know who had the highest was his teammate Roy Campanella.
Well, 2 Hall of Famers right there.
But I mean, he was a winning player. That's, you know, a big piece of his legacy as well.
A winning player with an enormous burden.
Here's Neil Walker, who flicked a single into right center his first time up, then tried to score on a double by Cabrera, but was thrown out at the plate. Kipnis throws out Walker, and quickly Anderson has the first 2 out. So after Cologne registered his first 1-2-3 inning, now Anderson has a chance for his.
It's like both pitchers are saying, "Oh yeah, I'll one up you." They're just ditto in pitching performance here, inning by inning.
Both these teams sport incredibly powerful rotations, but both teams catch a break in that regard in this series, in that they're mostly seeing the back end of the other's rotation. And the Indians have 3 studs in their rotation, with Kluber, whom the Mets will face Sunday, Carrasco, and Salazar. These are big time strikeout guys.
Yeah, the numbers on the left are the strikeouts, 245, the 216.
Cabrera fouls one down the line.
So it's a team that went 81-80 last year. They did not play 162 games.
Well, it's the 3rd straight winning season for the Indians under Terry Francona, but they were hard pressed to get there. They were under 500 for most of the year.
They were a team that kind of floundered around, and only three times last year were they over 500.
Yeah, it's going to be a very hard division this year, that American League Central. I mean, the Twins are 0-9 to start the year and may not be a factor, but the White Sox are greatly improved with, the addition of Todd Frazier and others. The Royals are the defending world champions. Detroit, about their offense, and Cleveland hoping to make some noise as well. Cabrera fouls off the curveball. And this Cleveland team is going to be a lot better as soon as next week, when they get Michael Brantley back. He is I always look at Brantley as maybe the most underrated player in baseball. People don't talk about him, but he's a terrific player.
I have not seen him play, but 300 seasons in a row under his belt. He had the shoulder surgery, correct?
Yeah.
And that limited his time last year.
And they're working him back slowly. They're trying not to push him too fast.
Right.
He's played a couple of games on rehab. He's actually here tonight. He was working out with the Indians before the game, and then he'll continue his rehab. They've got a farm team in Akron, so it's close by. That's drilled down the line by Cabrera, but foul. Well, Terry's first year as Indians manager, they won a wild card. That was in 2013. And then have been over 500, but not a factor in the race the last 2 years. Don't be a hot dog.
2 hands.
2. Just not enough mustard. I don't even know what to say. Eighth pitch of the at bat to Cabrera, and he watches low and away, full count.
Cabrera has been swinging a decent bat of late. He has been one of the guys that hasn't been lost. He's a threat up there.
Hit the ball very hard his first time up tonight, drilling a double down the right field line. Long turn at bat here against Anderson. And he takes inside, ball 4.
Nice at bat.
First walk given up by Cody Anderson. And the Mets have a 2-out base runner for Travis d'Arnaud.
It's been a tough slog for Travis. You can see the 100 batting average. Boy, when it's April and your average is up there on the board, you can feel it. Feel it breathing down your neck.
Didn't play Wednesday. His backup, Kevin Plawecki, had the game-winning hit in the Mets' 2-1 win. And it goes after the fastball, 0-1.
It's gotten long with its swing there. It's a big home run swing right there. And always when you're struggling and in a slump, or in this case off to a bad start, don't want to swing for the fences. You want to stay compact. Line drives until you get your rhythm back.
Back this way.
Oh, almost got us.
We have extraordinarily large windows here in Cleveland in our broadcast booth. If we are ever going to get a foul ball during the season, this would figure to be the place where we would. I mean, look how big that window is.
Oh, you're getting all this airtime. Where?
Well, you're hidden. There you are. There we go.
Oh,
see,
God.
I got your good side now.
You see all my chins now.
By the way, it was a great open today.
Oh gosh, it goes. That's one for the records.
Well, we only had to record it 4 times.
No, 3. It was 3.
No,
was it 4?
The truck messed up the first time.
Oh, that's right. The truck messed up the first time, but I was 0 for 3. I get paid for that too. That was a brutal open.
Well, I figure it's only about 2 minutes out of your overall day, so it's not a very large percentage of what you do.
It didn't help that you were snickering
Well,
in the middle of my presentation.
After the 3rd time. Well, just, you know, I'm sure most fans don't really care about this, but normally we do the open live. Today was one of the rare times that we taped it.
Right.
And we're much better live.
Under the gun.
That's it. I mean, you're a clutch player.
Well,
you're a late innings, men on base kind of guy.
That was a long time ago.
Fourth inning, Mets and Indians each scored in the first inning. Each have had runs taken off the board by review or umpire changing their minds. Yan Gomes leads off for the Tribe in the 4th. Gomes struck out with 2 men on to end the first inning. That's the only strikeout for Cologne tonight. And he breaks his bat. Cologne reads the signature and throws him out, 1 away. Well, this may stun some folks, but look at this.
Don't.
This is Bartolo Colon as a Cleveland Indian.
Look at that.
Look how slender. Look how hard throwing. The motion is the same.
There, he's learning how to throw that sinker already. A motion.
Which you never see anymore. We have one more thing to show you of Cologne from back in the day, and you're really going to have to hang on to your hats here because you're going to hardly believe what you're about to see. Skied to right field by Marlon Byrd, and Granderson camped right under it. And the second out. Now look at this. This is his rookie card. This is from 1995, a couple of years before he made his big league debut. Yes, that is the same Bartolo Colon. And look, upper left, 6 feet, 185.
And look down below. Control and command. Only things standing between him and a dramatic move forward.
I guess he figured that part out. And now, 20-some years later, still going and going strong. He'll turn 43 next month. The oldest player in the major leagues. Juan Uribe had a base hit his first time up. And Colon back to putting that fastball exactly where he wants it. He's retired 6 in a row.
Oh. Don't think I want to throw that one. Change my mind.
Check out today's Verizon trivia question. 5 pitchers have won more games than the 143 that Bartolo Colon has won after leaving Cleveland. Who are those 5 pitchers who've won more games after leaving the Indians than has Colon?
Well, that would be what year did he leave Cleveland?
Oh, it's not since.
Oh.
It's who's won more.
Oh, okay.
More than that 143 after leaving the Indians. Some pretty good names on this list.
I'm sure.
Including a Hall of Famer. A Hall of Famer who a lot of people forget ever pitched for the Indians. Because he was a starter for the Indians and became a reliever later.
I know who he is. Right-hander.
Yep.
Mustache.
Gave up a famous home run.
Dark hair.
Colorful language. Line the other way, and Uribe has got his second hit of the night. So Juan Uribe trying to poke a stick in the side of the Mets. Hey, why did you resign me?
Fastball away, goes with it. Each team now with 5 hits apiece. And each team has left 4 men on base. I like those scoreboards, Gary, that have, you know, the line score, the innings.
Right.
And it has runs, hits, errors, and I love it when they put left on base after the errors.
Well, here in Cleveland, they have maybe the largest scoreboard I've ever seen. So there's plenty of room for left on base and anything else you want to see.
It is an enormous scoreboard.
It's bigger than the one they had the last time we were here 3 years ago. I mean, it is. It takes up all of left field. Tyler Naquin tried to sacrifice, bunted into a force play his first time up, and Colon picks off the inside corner, and it's 0-2. And Colon blows him away at 92 miles an hour. Second strikeout of the night for Bartolo. He's just getting started. Back in his old stomping grounds. Bartolo in a 1-1 duel after 4. Both these pitching dominated teams have had trouble scoring runs, and it's been the case again tonight. Each team with 1 run and 5 hits over the first 4. Alejandro De Aza, batting 9th in the order, was robbed of an extra base hit his first time up. Tyler Naquin went back to the big wall in left center to reel in his long drive. It'll be De Aza, then Curtis Granderson and David Wright for the Mets in the 5th against Cody Anderson. Well, it's Jackie Robinson night all over baseball, and every player in the major leagues today is wearing number 42 in tribute to Jackie, who was an American pioneer. But we mentioned at the outset of the broadcast tonight that sometimes lost in the rightful adulation that Jackie Robinson receives is the legacy of the first African American player in the American League, and that was Larry Doby. Another one to deep center by De Aza, and that back near the wall, and it's out of here.
Wow.
Alejandro De Aza with his first hit as a Met, and it's a long home run. The Mets' second home run of the night. De Aza showing off his power, and the Mets lead it 2-1.
0 for 8 start to the season, and boy, did he crush that one.
Well, he gave you a preview in the previous at bat, hitting one to the fence in left center, and this time he clears it.
Fastball belt high out over the plate. Get hurt there. It's a long way out there. Big high fence.
So there's the 19-foot wall. De Aza, who's hit as many as 17 home runs in a season, hit the stuffing out of that one. And Granderson pops one up, and Naquin over in left center to grab it, and that's the first out of the inning.
Oh, well, he's a little hot. All you lip readers out there, cover your eyes.
So De Aza gets off the schneid. His first hit as a Met is a very impressive home run. Now it's David Wright, who's hit the ball hard twice tonight, lined out to short, single to left. David, with his base hit in the 3rd inning, has now reached base in 18 straight games dating back to last season. Well, right before De Aza hit the home run, we were starting to talk about Larry Doby, who was the first African American player in the American League and played here in Cleveland. And, you know, unlike Jackie Robinson, who had kind of had a year to prepare for his major league debut, the Dodgers signed him and sent him to Montreal for a year in the minor leagues. Larry Doby was signed out of the Negro Leagues and 2 days later made his debut for the Indians in July of 1947. Less than 3 months after Robinson made his debut. There's a strike, 3-1.
I had the great pleasure of meeting Larry Doby as a young kid in the minor leagues, as well as early in my career. A very lovely man, engaging and friendly. I really enjoyed my conversations with him, and I knew exactly who he was and what he represented.
And so many of the indignities that were heaped on Jackie Robinson and have been chronicled also befell Larry Doby and many of the other African American players who followed. And sometimes it gets lost in the history. And I think it's important to appreciate what all of those players went through to integrate the game.
I almost would be for, Gary, not almost, I would be for. I know that they've integrated the leagues, American League and National League, as David goes down swinging on the breaking ball. But I would, the American League, I think it would be appropriate to have a day for him.
Well, here's Larry Doby. Watch this. He's hitting against Warren Spahn in the All-Star game.
Yep, Warren Spahn. The old ballparks.
High ball hitter.
Look at those old Cyclone fences.
Larry was born in South Carolina, but he grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. Went to Long Island University, so he's a New York guy. Conforto fouls one off. Well, this is a quote from Larry Doby. Jackie got all the publicity, but it was the same thing I had to deal with. Nobody said we're going to be nice to the second black.
Yeah. You kind of sense a little anger and bitterness there, and rightly so.
Unlike Jackie Robinson, who passed away at the very young age of 53, Larry Doby lived a long life and a very productive one. Passed away in 2003 at the age of 79. Lived in New Jersey late in his life. This is from the Jackie Robinson Memorial Service. Look at the pallbearers. Look at some of the names, including Larry Doby, who was one of his pallbearers, as well as many of his teammates. Bill Russell on that list. And then the honorary pallbearers, including Willie Mays, A. Philip Randolph, Roy Wilkins. Great figures in the civil rights movement.
Of course, Don Newcomb, the Brooklyn Dodger, Joe Black, Ralph Branca, Pee Wee Reese.
Three and two to Conforto after he was down in the count 0-2. Larry Doby was 23 when he made his debut with the Indians. Wound up playing 13 years in the American League. Led the American League in home runs twice and RBIs once. 7-time All-Star. Eighth pitch of the at bat to Conforto, and he dribbles one up the line, and that's an easy base hit. With the shift on, Conforto nubs one, and he's got himself a 2-out hit.
Again, nothing but off-speed stuff to Conforto, and he's going to have to make the adjustment here, and they're playing him in that shift, and that third base line's wide. This is not planned. This is a cue ball off the end of his bat. He got fooled out in front, and that is a sidewinder.
So Conforto's got his second hit of the night. He hit the first one 414 feet. He hits the second one 40 feet.
It's a line drive in the paper tomorrow.
Now it's Cespedes, who's 1 for 2, had a pop fly single back in the first. Mets have their 7th hit against Cody Anderson. Mets regaining the lead here in the 5th on Alejandro Diaz's leadoff home run. And Cespedes has to move his feet.
It seems like Colon has collected himself and found his rhythm, and it looks like Anderson is still searching for his rhythm. There's Ross Detweiler, the former National.
He's the lone lefty in that Indians bullpen. Anderson up to 85 pitches on the night, and Cespedes takes a strike. Lucas Duda would be next. Cespedes drives one to right center, chasing Naquin back to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here! Yoenis Cespedes with a 2-run homer. The Mets' 3rd home run of the night. And Cespedes, with his 2nd of the season, gives the Mets a 4-1 lead. Well, the Mets had only hit 2 home runs in their first 8 games before tonight, but they've gone deep 3 times in the first 5 innings against Cody Anderson, and they built a 4-1 lead.
And what a difference an off day makes. Breaking ball, not a bad spot. Been trying to get Cespedes to go to the opposite field. Here he does, and with power.
So De Aza led off the inning with a home run, and after the 2-out number by Conforto, Cespedes cashes in.
He's so strong.
Cody Anderson has gotten used to that feeling tonight.
Well, everybody was squawking and texting and blogging. It's just a matter of time. This team will come around. They got too many good hitters on this ball club.
Anderson just got a visit from the Indians pitching coach Mickey Callaway. He's back in the dugout now, and he'll stay in. Anderson will, to face Lucas Duda, which is interesting since they had Detweiler up, presumably with an eye toward Duda. Lucas is 0 for 2. Twice is grounded out. And now Anderson behind on Duda, 2-0.
I always told you, Garrett, that I felt less pressure, for lack of a better word, on the road. And maybe this is what this club needed to get out of Citi Field. Such a start and stop beginning of the season with off days.
And Duda takes one the other way. After grinding out to the left side his previous at bat, he hits one hard through that vacated left side.
There's the hit the ball where it's pitched here, and it's away. And I would love Lucas to do this more, particularly in situations where you can drive in a run, where a home run is not needed. That's perfect. Hitting the ball right up the plate.
That's going to be all for Cody Anderson. Terry Francona will take the ball. Ross Detweiler will come in to face Neil Walker. Mets up 4-1 in the 5th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. the pitching for Cleveland.
Well, he came up in 2011 with the Nationals. In 2012 won 10 ball games for him in 27 starts. 2013 had back issues, missed the whole second half of the season, and then from this point on it's been all downhill for him, bouncing around to Texas, Atlanta, and now Cleveland.
Yeah, he was with the Braves for a while last year. Really did not enjoy much success. Comes in here to face Neil Walker with Duda at first and 2 out. 3 runs home for the Mets in the 5th on a couple of long balls, and Walker unloads deep to left field. Back goes Davis for a look, and that ball's gone. The 3rd home run of the inning and the 4th of the night. Walker with a 2-run shot on the first pitch thrown by Detweiler. Walker's 2nd home run of the year, and the Mets now lead it 6-1. Neil Walker went all of last season without hitting a home run as a right-hand batter, and he hit that ball out of sight.
Second home run of the year, first home run as a right-hand hitter. He is now 5 for 9 on the year, this young season, from the right side of the plate, which is his weaker side. And right there, fastball up and out over the middle.
Didn't look very weak there. Here's Cabrera, and he takes a fastball for a strike. I mean, that ball went a good 10 rows back in the seats above that high fence.
There has not been a cheap home run.
Well, Conforto homered in the 1st to get it started. And here in the 5th inning, De Aza, Cespedes, and Walker all going deep. So the Mets, who had been home run starved coming into the night, get a big helping.
And this is, even though you've had the off day for the bullpen, which has been taxed, this is a game that Terry Collins needed from his offense. Well, Detweiler knew it right away.
Well, last year Detweiler worked 58 big league innings and gave up 10 home runs. So it's a sound that he's become accustomed to. That's hit hard, but right at the shortstop, Lindor, who boots it. And the throw far too late to get Cabrera. So the young shortstop Lindor, normally very sure-handed, keeps the inning going for the Mets with an error.
Well, he did nothing wrong here. He got in front, 2 hands, ball came up on the heel of his glove.
So the inning is prolonged, and now Travis Darnell will be the 9th man up in the inning. De Aza led off the inning with a home run, and Anderson retired the next 2 batters. Then Michael Conforto hit that little cue ball that stayed fair along the 3rd baseline, and the Mets have cashed in. Cespedes a 2-run homer, Duda with a base hit, Walker a 2-run homer. Now Cabrera reaches on the error. Darno is grounded out and struck out tonight. Now 2 for 21 to start the season. Job of Chamberlain, the next man up in the Indians bullpen. Well, the Mets tonight are starting a 9-game road trip. They'll play 3 here in Cleveland, 3 in Philly, then 3 in Atlanta. Last year, home was where the heart was. The Mets couldn't lose at Citi Field, particularly the first half of the year. But if you remember 2 years ago, the Mets were dominant on the road and struggled to win at home. So you never know about those things.
I think it's all part of their maturation. They're growing. As I said earlier, I felt more pressure at home, and I think it took this team. Because basically, this just is the nucleus of this team is a young team, and we've been watching it develop in front of our eyes over the last few years and getting more accustomed to playing in New York. It's different playing in New York.
Well, it was very interesting the things Terry Collins said after the Mets victory on Wednesday about hearing voices talking about the team being complacent or not playing hard, or however he wants to put it. That's it out to right field, and Bird going back to get it, side retired, and Terry put a lot of import into winning that game Wednesday and managed it in that fashion. And the Mets have unloaded here tonight in Cleveland.
Perception is that there's no energy here, which is completely not true. You know, that we're not prepared, that we're not, you know, we're overconfident, or we're not taking things seriously. I heard that last night, and it made me sick to my stomach. That people actually think that this team that accomplished what they did last year would have any semblance of that type of makeup. So I said, you know what, we got to win this game today. We got to show people we mean business here.
Well, the Mets won the game on Wednesday that Terry was referring to. I'm not quite sure which voices he's talking about who were saying those things, but you know, when you manage in New York and when you manage a team that has great expectations and that accomplished a lot last year, it's a little different than managing in a different situation.
And with all this excess media floating around on the internet and the blogs and Facebook, tweeting, it's much more compounded today than it was in our day. But you can't pay attention to that. It's got to be all noise on the outside. I think Terry felt he had to defend his team. I don't think he managed the game to win because of that reason. Because of the outside noise, I think he felt the team needed a win.
Drilled to center by Kipnis, getting turned around as De Aza, and it's over his head and all the way back to the wall. Rajay Davis will score easily. Kipnis stops at second with an RBI double, his second double of the night. And that trims the Mets lead to 6-2. Jason Kipnis is a terrific hitter.
Boy, I tell you what, he's scalded 2 balls today. Double off the left field wall, his first at bat, and now this one here. And Davis, who can run, is going to score easily on that. Fastball. Not much movement. Just kind of came back out over the middle. Looked like he wanted to come inside.
Kipnis with his second double of the night, his 4th RBI of the season. And now Francisco Lindor, who has fly out and grounded out. Let me ask you this, Keith. When you have a team, again, playing in New York, high expectations, you've gotten off to a kind of a sluggish start. how much of what Terry both did during the game and said after the game was directed, maybe indirectly, to his team? In other words, we've gotten off to a slow start. This can't last. We have to, cut it off right now.
Are you presuming an indirect kick in the pants a little bit?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
It could be. It could have been the double-edged sword there. I really don't think that this team, from what we saw in spring training, Gary, with their work ethic, this team is not lollygagging it. They want to win. They're very motivated to win. They're off to a bad start, and playing in New York, the sky's falling all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not the least bit concerned about this team's effort on the field.
So you don't think that Terry thought his team needed a wake-up call?
No, I don't know. I don't know why he would let all that outside stuff get under his craw.
Because honestly, I mean, I don't listen to much sports talk radio, but who's saying that this team was not trying or didn't have any energy? They just weren't hitting.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
and when you're not hitting, you're not putting a lot of excitement with you're up and down all the time.
Lindor takes strike 3 call. Colon picks off the inside edge for the first out of the inning.
That's a big strikeout right there. You got a 6-2 ball game. Nobody out, a runner on second. It's incumbent on Lindor at least to get the runner over and set up a sacrifice fly to make it a 6-3 game. It's a brand new ball game with lots of time to play. Well, not time, lots of innings.
Baseball's not measured by time.
Exactly. I stand corrected.
Here's Mike Napoli.
Ooh, hanger right there.
Off the slider.
Got away with it. I think it was more a defense. It was an obvious defense of his players, because he was defending their the accusations of their lack of effort or whatever, lethargy, whatever you want.
Well, and he was also defending the moves that he made in the game.
Right. And I think it was a big win for them, even though it's early in the season.
But I mean, he did things managerially in that game that I kind of were startling. I mean, bringing Jim Henderson back after throwing 34 pitches the night before with his injury history was startling. Bringing Familia in for the 3rd straight day and asking him to get a 5-out save was startling. And frankly, if you go back and look at the last time that happened, it doesn't happen in baseball often. In fact, Elias went back and looked. The last time that a pitcher working the 3rd straight day was asked to get a 5-out save was 2009, and it hadn't happened for a Met pitcher since 1999. So it's a rare thing. That what he did was rare. And it's just interesting that he would feel, that he had to do that and then had to defend his team this early in the season.
Just missed. Well, he said he didn't want to bring Robles in because Robles had pitched
2 1/3 2 nights before.
But to me, the arm that you got to protect is Henderson's, because he's the one that's had the issues. Robles has got a rubber arm. You can run him out there. He wants to pitch.
Well, and Terry had said that Henderson was available, and that Henderson said he was available, as Napoli fouls it off. The problem that I have with that is that Henderson's he's a guy trying to fight his way back. He's always going to say yes.
Of course, and he's the one that's had the shoulder, the arm issues. If there wasn't an off day yesterday, Gary, Terry would have managed that bullpen entirely different.
Totally agree.
He was looking to the off day, which was yesterday, that I can do this, and my bullpen's got a day off where they're going to rest their arms. And what he needs today is what they're giving him, the offense. A day he doesn't have to go to the bullpen.
Napoli lunges and fouls one off.
Or deep into the bullpen, where they get 48 hours, and then your bullpen's all back in line again.
Well, they're all available tonight. And he's got an extra man out there because remember Rafael Montero was activated before the game on Wednesday, so the Mets have an 8-man bullpen. Going one short on the bench right now.
So if this game continues the way it is, I'd run Bart out there over 100 innings, 100 pitches. I would hope to get 7 out of him.
Well, he'd have to have some quick innings now at 78 pitches now with 1 out in the 5th.
I'd be willing to let him run out there for 110.
Trying to put away Napoli. He's had a tough at bat, and he gets him. Well, Colon really pitched Napoli tough. He's got back-to-back strikeouts now after the Kipnis RBI double.
Well, very interesting how he went to the breaking ball to Napoli here. Threw him around 3 or 4 breaking balls in this at bat. So the book on Napoli must be not a good breaking ball hitter.
So now 2 out. And it's left to Carlos Santana, who's 0 for 1 on a walk. The Indians now 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They've got 7 hits tonight. Shift on against Santana. David Wright playing alone on the left side. Changeup from Colon to start off Santana. So he's going to more secondary pitches here in the 5th inning.
And I hate to be the dead horse here. I think Terry got his back up because he got under some criticism of how he used the bullpen, and Sandy Alderson, to his credit, came out and defended his use of the bullpen yesterday, 2 days ago.
Well, what he said was he totally understood it. It's not something that's not going to happen often, and that's certainly true.
Yes,
it was. Look, it was all set in motion by the fact that they didn't have DeGrom, and the fact that Matz had a short start on Monday, and that set the entire thing in motion for what would happen in that series.
And you've got Montero now, who I think is going to be their long reliever. If someone gets knocked out early, Montero is going to gobble up innings in the middle. Whether he holds it or gets his fanny kicked, who knows? But he's going to eat up some innings in the middle.
Now Colon behind on Santana 3-0. Well, it's looking as though DeGrom's not going to start on Tuesday, which keeps Ferret in that role, unless the Mets decide to go in a different direction. But why would they after what they got out of Ferret on Wednesday? 6 scoreless innings.
Very nice. Certain times in the season, Gary, it's all hands on deck, right?
Yeah, it's just not usually the first 2 weeks of the season. Bartolo up to 83 pitches now with 2 out of the 5th. Rajay Davis started out the inning with a broken bat hit. Kipnis drove him home with a long double, and now Colon trying to put this inning to bed. But he's behind Santana 3-1, and a pop-up into shallow right center. Who's going to call for it? It's going to be Diaz, and he puts it away to retire the side. So a nice comeback by Colon after the ringing double by Kipnis after 5, 6-2 New York. We go to the 6th inning. Mets with a 6-2 lead. At Heritage Park at Progressive Field, honoring some of the Indians past. Alejandro De Aza skips one right over the bag and down the line for a base hit. He'll try for 2. Rajay Davis makes the throw. It's too high. Backed up by Napoli, and that keeps De Aza at second with a leadoff double. So De Aza having a big day, a home run, and now an opposite field 2-base hit.
Cut and slash here. Look at that. Beautiful hitting. Right. Oh, just fair, too. That was close, but beautiful hitting right there. And there's a nice leadoff double as the Mets offense has come to life.
Mets have hit 4 home runs tonight. That's their second double. Mets began the day with only 10 extra base hits in their first 8 games. There's Granderson taking low and inside. Curtis 0 for 3, struck out and flied out twice. Now 3 for 34 to begin his season. Facing the veteran left-hander Ross Detweiler. And he pops this up. Lindor making the call. Not caught in the catwalk like it was for him at Tampa Bay. Did you see that?
No.
He went after the pop-up that got caught in the catwalk and never came down. Let's go to the studio, check in with Larry Ridley for a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Pitching change coming up for Terry Francona. He'll bring in the right-hander to face David Wright. So Ross Detweiler is out after 2/3 of an inning. Mets up 6-2 in the 6th. We'll be right back to Cleveland. Progressive Field, formerly known as Jacobs Field in downtown Cleveland. Right next to the building where LeBron plies his trade. Jabba Chamberlain's now 30 years old, and the years have not been kind to him.
No, they have not. And boy, did he, with the Yankees, have him make a splash. But boy, it has just, they tried him at starting. I think they just mismanaged him over there, and his career has just kind of torpedoed.
Played with Detroit and Kansas City last year, making his 3rd appearance for the Indians in the ballpark where he was once attacked by the midges. Remember that in the playoff game against the Indians when the midges came out and they were all over Jabba's face and neck?
No. I do not.
I'll have to get you the video. David Wright 1 for 3 tonight, and he hits a ground ball to the right side for Kipnis. 2 out. De Aza goes over to third. When Jabba first came up with the Yankees in 2007, his average fastball velocity was 97. So far this year, 91.5. It's gone steadily downward over the course of the last 7 years. Here's Michael Conforto, who got the Mets started tonight with a home run over the center field fence, the first of 4 home runs the Mets have hit tonight. Conforto hit one in the first, and then De Aza, Cespedes, and Walker all went deep in the 5th. It was the first time the Mets hit 3 home runs in 1 inning on the road since 2006, 10 years ago. Hit a lot of home runs that year, 2006. Well, the power is back on.
From 2 to 6. That'll get him out of last place. But Colorado has 20, I think, to lead the National League.
Yeah, the Mets have almost caught up to Trevor Story. Curveball misses from Jabba, 2-1.
What a story.
He has been like a multi-part series. Yoenis Cespedes on deck. Mets 6 runs, 11 hits. The Indians 2 runs and 7 hits. And now Chamberlain behind on Conforto, 3-1 with Cespedes waiting on deck.
Chamberlain works very slow, like most relievers.
Big hop for Kipnis, and a low throw, and Napoli's able to hang on to it, and that retires the side. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Cologne gets back to the mound with a 6-2 lead. Home 6th inning. Mets with a 4-run lead. Bartolo Colon Takes on Yan Gomes leading off the home sixth. And the first pitch breaking ball bounced down to David Wright. Makes the long throw. Stretched by Duda. Had to come off the bag. Another poor throw by David Wright. And Gomes is safe at first base.
Well, David starting to throw a lot like Howard Johnson used to throw when he was first with the Mets, Gary. That underarm, I know, underhand stuff. I know he's got a bad arm. That's a routine play.
Do you think he's got a bad arm, or do you think it's that the back condition prevents him from throwing the way he'd like to?
We're going to have to ask him that.
Second error charged to David this year. Now Marlon Byrd with the runner on.
Well, this is how Howard Johnson used to throw. The old side armor, and it's hard to control. It's going to be a sinker coming over to the first baseman. And he's throwing a hand grenade too. So that's
spots the corner, and it's 1-1. Byrd is 1 for 2, single to center back in the second. Just starting to get the bullpen going now, with Colon working toward 90 pitches in the 6th inning. Antonio Bastardo was up. 1-2 to Byrd, off the corner. And he strikes out Byrd with the fastball. Strikeout number 5 for Bartolo Colon.
Good pitch on the corners.
1 out and 1 on. We check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Gary, early in the game you guys were talking about Larry Doby, the second player to break baseball's color barrier. Lamar Johnson, who was the former hitting coach of the Mets a couple of years ago, now a roving hitting instructor in the minor leagues for the organization. He played for Larry Doby in the 70s with the White Sox when Doby was a hitting coach and ultimately the manager. And he said about Doby, he was the most laser focused human being that I ever met in my life. No matter what we were talking about, whether it was base running, hitting approach, anything, you could not knock him off of that subject. And he said, looking back and looking what he had to go through when he first came into the major leagues, you recognize that he needed that laser focus, not just to play at the major league level, but really to play at a Hall of Fame level and be able to tune out all of that outside noise and distraction.
I think he needed a turtle back. That's what he needed, just to weather the storm.
Well, there's much less history written about Larry Doby, and you know, Branch Rickey very famously told Jackie Robinson he was going to have to turn the other cheek, at least for the first couple of years he was in the major leagues. Larry, from all indications, was a little more of a low-key individual. I mean, Jackie had to tone down his personality to be able to turn the other cheek. Don't know enough about Larry Doby to know how difficult it was for him to do the same.
Sure, it was every bit as difficult. And that quote from Larry Doby that we put up on the screen earlier, I think said it all.
Yeah.
And here they are right here. How nice is that? That's probably an all-star game, I would assume.
I would think so. Three and 2 to Uribe, and he manages to foul one off. Well, we've mentioned several times tonight that Bartolo Colon made his big league debut for the Indians 19 years ago. Our friend Tyler Kepner went back and looked at the Indians starting lineup for that game. You forget just what a powerhouse the Indians were back in the 90s. Their starting lineup was Marquise Grissom, Kevin Seitzer, Julio Franco, Matt Williams. That's drilled to the left field for a base hit. Chased by Conforto. On his way to third is Gomes. He'll make it safely. Trying for two is Uribe, and he makes it safely. Ball gets loose, but Duda backs it up. And the Indians have runners at second and third, and Juan Uribe is 3 for 3.
3 Rockets. A high ball hitter. This was kind of sad to see him not return to this ball club.
Well, it looks like that's going to be all for Colon. Uribe goes 3 for 3, and he knocks Colon out of the game after 5 1/3. With the left-hand hitter coming up, Antonio Bastardo is going to come in the game. So Mets bullpen will be put to the test tonight. Colon out after 97 pitches. We'll be right back. Than the last time I saw you.
That's a very recent photo, Gare.
Well, you certainly know how to grab the bull by the horns.
What's wrong with these people?
Oh, they love you.
Oh.
And they love being on TV. Antonio Bastardo on in relief for New York.
Oh, gosh.
And Jose Ramirez will be the pinch hitter. Batting for the left-hand batter Tyler Naquin. Ramirez, a switch hitter, will bat right-handed against Bastardo with second and third and 1 out. And Ramirez takes a big rip at a fastball, 0-1.
Well, there's no question of what you're going to get from Bastardo. He loves to throw his fastball. Mets conceding the run here.
Bastardo has not worked since Monday night when he went an inning and a third and gave up 2 runs and 4 hits. And quickly ahead on Ramirez, 0-2.
That'll make you scratch your head. 2 straight fastballs and you swing and miss.
Ramirez has been getting a lot of playing time in the early season. In the outfield, he's normally an infielder.
Just got to put the ball in play here.
Gomes at third, Uribe at second with 1 out. An error and a double putting them on base. And Ramirez fouls off the fastball. Bartolo Colon done after 5 1/3, allowed 8 hits, 2 runs so far, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 97 pitches. So unable to get as deep into the game as he would have liked. He was not able to get in rhythm early on. Oh, 2 from Bastardo. Struck him out.
Wow.
Bastardo comes in and fans the pinch hitter Jose Ramirez. 2 men down.
Wow. Just a fastball. He swung right through 3 of them. That's a little disconcerting right there.
Now Rajai Davis is 1 for 3 at a broken bat single and scored a run in the 5th. He's also stolen a base tonight.
Demoralizing.
In the air to left field. Conforto has it lined up. And that retires the side, so Bastardo able to pick up David Wright, who made the error to open the inning. But the Indians do not score. The always happy Bartolo Colon. Complete and full box score than the Mets have been posting recently. 4 home runs tonight. Conforto, Cespedes, Walker, De Aza have all gone deep. Changes for the Indians. Jose Ramirez, who pinch hits, stays in left field. Rajai Davis moves from left field to center field. Jabba Chamberlain got the final 2 outs in the 6th. Stays on for the 7th, and Cespedes drives another one to right center, and this one is up the gap and up against the wall. So Cespedes, who had a 2-run homer that way his last time up, now has a ringing double. His 3rd hit of the night.
All positive, positive. Opposite field, gap. Very nice. And another pitch up in the strike zone. Short hops the wall. Bullet to right center.
Terry Francona on his way out. Chamberlain will take his exit, and the Indians will make another pitching change. Mets up 6-2 in the 7th and looking for more. We'll be right back to Cleveland. Brickashaw Ferguson on why he decided to retire and what he has planned for life after football. Plus, could the Jets franchise quarterback be in this year's draft class? On Jets Nation Sunday at 7, only on SNY. Nachos in a helmet.
Well, that seems to be the new trend. We saw that in New York, Garrett, City Field.
That looks like, is that barbecue sauce?
Remember, you got to hand wash that helmet.
Trevor Bauer comes on to pitch for the Indians. Bauer, a former big-time prospect with the Diamondbacks. Pitches to Lucas Duda, who takes a strike. Bauer was the 3rd overall pick in the draft out of UCLA back in 2011. And then was dealt by the Diamondbacks to the Indians in the trade where Cleveland traded away Shin-Soo Choo. But he has never developed the way the Indians expected him to. He was in their rotation the last 2 years, led the American League in walks last year, and now relegated to the bullpen.
So this is a USC and UCLA matchup.
Yes,
here.
it is. That's a good call there.
Crosstown rivals.
Lucas a few years older, probably didn't get to face Bauer in college.
Looked like a splitter right there he threw. Boy, he's got his fingers all over that ball. It really tucked in deep into his hand. That was his off-speed pitch. Really got a lot of movement down.
Cespedes at second and nobody out. And Duda hits one down the left field line, slicing, foul. Well, Duda's used left field effectively today. He's hit 2 ground balls sharply to the left side. One was right at an infielder. The other was through the open space for a base hit. That's now with 6 runs and 12 hits. 7 of those 12 hits have been for extra bases. 3 doubles and 4 home runs. After just 10 extra base hits total in the first 8 games. And the curveball bounced down to first. Napoli's got it behind the bag. That'll move Cespedes over to third. 1 out.
Got to get him in here.
Well, Neil Walker, whose last right-handed home run came in 2014, crushed one back into the seats in left field as a right-hand batter. In the 5th inning, he's also had a base hit, so he's 2 for 3 on the night. And now he'll bat left-handed, trying to get a run home. And the Indians, already down by 4 runs, will bring the infield in.
So there's his 3rd pitch. So he's got a fastball, pretty straight. Throws hard, 94. Slider right there you just saw. And whatever he's throwing for that off-speed pitch, that's getting a sinking action. He's a hard thrower, Garrett.
Well, you don't get taken 3rd in the draft if you can't bring it up there.
But he's straight, so he's pretty true.
Well, teams draft college pitchers hoping they'll get to the big leagues fast. And Bauer did. He was drafted in 2011, was in the big leagues the next season. There's a slow curve in for a strike. 1-2.
He's got an overhand curve, too. Pretty good one.
So he's got the repertoire of a starter, which he has been for his entire career until this season. He could use a strikeout here with a runner at 3rd and 1 out. And he gets Walker with a nasty pitch inside.
Cutter. I tell you what, that was an impressive sequence of pitches. There you go, a little cutter. See the little dot in the ball? Same dots as on the other side of the ball, which the hitter sees.
So he strikes out Walker for the second out. And now it's Asdrubal Cabrera, who has doubled, walked, and reached on an error. 1 for 2 tonight. Cespedes at third with 2 down. Knocked down by Gomes. That keeps Cespedes at third.
Nice block. Very nice block on a difficult chance there. The runner on third.
Well, Bauer, part of this Indian staff that strikes people out. We showed you some of the numbers for the starters earlier, led by Corey Kluber, whom the Mets will see Sunday.
Oh, got him.
Now Cabrera is hit by a pitch, and that one stung. And he's on base again.
Good fastball in. You see the catcher set up in. Oh, that's got the elbow a little bit. That hurts. Been there, done that. Through with it.
We could reenact it up here if you really wanted to go through that again. As Asdrubal waves the trainer away, but Ray Ramirez is going to check him out anyway after he took that off the right elbow.
It's not a preferred place to get hit.
So now runners at the corners with 2 out for the struggling Travis d'Arnaud. 0 for 3 tonight. 2 for 22 to start the season. Travis is grounded to short, struck out, and fly to right tonight.
Choking up. I like. They got his hands up again away from his body. His swing is getting long and a little loopy. He needs to just work up the middle. I like the fact that he's choking up. Stay on top. Focus on the top half of the ball. Line drives.
Travis grounds one out to short, and Lindor gets the force play to win the inning. So the Mets are turned aside in the 7th. Stretch time in Cleveland. Mets 6th, Indians 2. Aggressive field in Cleveland since 2013, and boy, things move fast around here. I thought it was New York where things move quickly.
Wow. Hey,
they're catching up here in Cleveland. Of course, you know, any town that's devoted to rock and roll, you know, things move fast. People's United Bank brings you tonight's starting pitchers. Bartolo Colon was not his sharpest, but made it through 5 1/3, giving up just 2 runs. Cody Anderson gave up 3 home runs tonight. Among the 9 hits he surrendered. Antonio Bastardo came in to get the final 2 outs in the 6th. Stays on to start the 7th with the left-hand hitting Jason Kipnis, who's had a good night. 2 for 3 with a pair of doubles. Hit the first double off the wall and left. The second one over the head of the center fielder De Aza. That drove in a run in the 5th. That's 6 runs and 12 hits. The Indians 2 runs and 8 hits. And the slider misses to Kipnis, 1-1. Francisco Lindor on deck, then Mike Napoli for the Indians.
You see how he strode there and kept his shoulder in. He feels like he's pulling off. He's focusing on driving right at the pitcher.
Alonso Robles up in the Mets bullpen. He was tremendous on Wednesday.
Yeah, he was. Big strikeouts from Robles. He didn't want to come out of the game. I like him. You have to beat him. He's going to come after you.
One-two to Kipnis. Too high. All of a sudden in baseball these last few days, lengthy, outstanding pitching performances. How about Chris Sale of the White Sox today? Complete game 2-hitter, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Had to wait for his team to score a run in the 9th to win 1-0 over Tampa Bay.
Well, maybe we're getting back to where it used to be. Who knows?
Right of Walker down to a knee. Throws out Kipnis, 1 away. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. You had the Vince Velasquez game last night for the Phillies against the Padres. That was impressive, going the distance. Jaime Garcia pitched a 1-hit complete game for the Cardinals against Milwaukee. He struck out 13.
And there's a guy coming off some arm problems.
Well, they always said about Jaime Garcia that he had no-hit stuff if he could just stay healthy. Well, he appears to be healthy now. He came close to throwing a no-hitter last night. 2-0 to Lindor. Let's check in with Steve.
Guys, really interesting. If you take a look here, the last time we saw Travis d'Arnaud catching Antonio Bastardo, it was very different. He kicked out his right leg, kind of rested it against the ground. Today, not doing that, and there he is right there. First time we've seen it tonight, so he's mixing it up. I'm going to check with him later tonight and find out why. Report back tomorrow, but very interesting to watch.
I think, Steve, he wants to get a low target as possible. Bastardo's problem is he gets up with his pitches. And I think it's trying to get him to focus low in the strike zone.
Yeah, Keith, he is doing it for that reason. He actually told me the other day that in spring training, he was asked by Bastardo to give him a low target, but when he just moved his mitt, the ball was still going wild. So d'Arnaud actually went back and watched how Francisco Cervelli caught Bastardo in Pittsburgh last year, and that was how he did it. So we saw it on Monday night, but I am curious as to why he was only doing it at certain times here tonight.
You might have forgotten until Bastardo got to 2-0 with a couple of pitches up.
And you also see how exposed that right thigh is when he gets down on his squat again, folks. It leaves that inner thigh, that right inner thigh, wide open for a foul tip. It's exposed.
3-2 to Lindor. And it's on the outside corner. He got him. Knee high, outside edge. Dale Scott punches out Lindor. 2 out.
Well, there's a borderline strike right there. Went Mets' way. I thought it was a little low. Again, I am correct, but
now that's going to be all for Bastardo. He was terrific. Phase 4 retired them all. Robles will come on for the Mets. Up 6-2 in the 7th. We'll be right back. Kansas City to Citi Field for the home opener. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the start of the Mets 2016 season on Mets Insider, presented by WB Mason, Sunday at 4:30, only on SNY. Got a little fire pit going here at Progressive Field.
Nice.
49 degrees, just the nice thing to take the edge off.
That's a nice idea.
Warm your hands.
Just don't want anybody catching on fire.
And the fireballing right-hander Hansel Robles comes on. Robles got 2 huge outs on Wednesday, came into a bases-loaded, nobody-out jam, and struck out the only 2 batters to face him. That was some big-time pitching by Robles. Comes in here with 2 out and nobody on a 4-run lead to face Mike Napoli. Napoli drove in a run with a first-inning single. Since then, he was retired on a great play by David Wright. A hot shot to his backhand, and then he struck out in the 5th. So Bastardo, that's probably the best we've seen him. 4 batters faced, all retired, with a couple of strikeouts.
4 up, 4 down.
Carlos Santana would be next.
No, Carlos was a guitar player.
That's hooked over the glove of Wright and down the line. Chased to the corner by Conforto, and Napoli will pull into second with a 2-out double. So Napoli has his second hit of the night.
Pull hitter. Just out of the reach, David. Well, speaking of Carlos Santana,
Which one?
The band and the leader of the band. They are going on tour with all the original members. I read an article yesterday.
They're bringing back the original singer too.
Yep. Which was the drummer, I believe.
In fact, they're calling the album Santana 4. Santana 3 was released in 1971, and there have been dozens of albums.
Right.
Since. So he's retrenching. Well, we're only blocks from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so it makes sense that
that's why I threw it in there.
Carlos would wield his axe in this ballpark. Santana tonight 0 for 2 and a walk. The Indians are just 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position tonight. And Robles, not quite as sharp as he was the other day, falls behind 2-0. And now 3-0. So working with a 4-run lead. Robles brought on with 2 out and nobody on, gives up a ringing double to Napoli, and now behind Santana 3-0 with Yan Gomes on deck. Mets went up 6-1 when they hit 3 home runs in a 5-run fifth. Their first 3 home run inning on the road in 10 years. There's a strike. Well, not in the intended spot.
In a game like this, at this stage of the game, 3-1 count. This is your big power hitter. He's got to look middle in to try to hit a 2-run shot and get this team within 2.
He had a 2-run shot earlier in the game for a couple of seconds until the umpires overruled it. And there's a strike on the outside, 3-2. Santana hit one down the right field line that Dan Iasonia called fair, and the umpires got together and correctly overruled the call and called it foul. Mets also had a run taken off the board early in this game. Neil Walker originally called safe at the plate. Indians challenged and the call was overturned. Napoli at second and 2 out. 3-2 to Santana. Is inside and low ball 4, and Santana walks for the second time tonight. And the Indians have a couple of men on.
Well, a little bit different this time around for Robles. It's a trouble of his own making here.
He's got to change his evil ways. Got to be smooth.
Very good, Gary.
Addison Reed, next man up in the Mets bullpen. Well, here's Yan Gomes, who's 0 for 3, struck out, hit a comebacker, and reached on there. 2 on and 2 out. And Gomes takes one right down the middle for a strike.
Good outside corner, 2 in a row.
So Robles not wasting time against Gomes after the walk to Santana. And quickly ahead 0-2.
I just think a lot of guys forget that a double scores 2 just as easily as a 3-run home run. Get your team back in the game. Taking 2 outside corner fastballs. There's a right center field gap. I know it looks easy up here.
0-2 to Gomes. Struck him out. Robles went upstairs, takes care of Gomes on 3 pitches, and gets himself out of a jam of his own making. Speaking of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, heartily recommend a visit. You could spend hours there.
By Cadillac, Chad Bettis, 6 innings strong for the Rockies. Bryce Harper, boy, what a start he's off to, and the Nationals. 9-0, killing the Phils. And look at those Braves. They might get one tonight. Look at that.
2 0-9 teams. There had not been an 0-9 team in the majors since the 2003 Tigers. That one skips past the feet of Alejandro De Aza, who's had himself a big night. De Aza with a home run and a double tonight. And the only time he was retired, it was on a terrific catch by Tyler Naquin up against the wall in left center. So De Aza with his first 2 hits as a Met, and they both did for extra bases. Trevor Bauer, who retired 3 batters in the 7th, stays on for the 8th.
Well, Diaz is a nice player to have on your bench. He's a good defender, swings a good bat, had a good night tonight so far. Home run, double. Veteran.
Curtis Granderson on deck, and then David Wright for the Mets in the 8th. Mets began the season on the road and split 2 games in Kansas City. Amazingly, their first 5 road games of the year are all in American League parks.
You're right. I didn't think about that. Oh, get them out of the way early.
Well, they'll have after this, they'll only have 5 DH games the rest of the season. They'll have 2 at Yankee Stadium and 3 in Detroit. That's in August. All their other interleague games will be at home.
I'm kind of over the interleague play. Are you?
Been over it a long time. I like the
Yankees
rivalry games.
Yep.
The rest of it.
Unfortunately, there's some teams that don't have rivalries.
Well, that's hit the other way, and it'll be a base hit for De Aza, his 3rd hit of the night. So a breakout game for Alejandro De Aza. Homer, double, and now a single. Mets have their 13th hit. We'll check in with Larry Ridley in the studio for another game break, brought to you by the New York State Department of Health. Here's Granderson, who's 0 for 4 tonight. So 3 hits for Cespedes, 3 hits for De Aza. Each has a single, double, and a home run. They've been the big bats in this Mets onslaught that's featured 4 home runs.
And Curtis needs to get untracked here. He's been struggling. He's just out of whack right now. You can see his timing's off. He's been getting jammed. It's just a matter of time. I mean, he's got his average at 0.86 right now. It's really been a really been a grind for him. 40 plate appearance, 35 at bats, excuse me.
Well, this is the way the year began for Curtis last year with a low batting average. The difference then was he was drawing a lot of walks. That's not been the case this year. Good change up by Bauer, and it's 1-2. Curtis had a hit each of the last 2 games of the Marlins series. Had a couple of hard hit balls, but nothing to show for tonight. Snap throw by Gomes, and back to the bag is De Aza. Gomes loves to do that.
With the ball in, you're kind of on that first base side. And catchers with good arms love to show it off.
Well, the first base coach and catching instructor for the Indians is Sandy Alomar Jr., who filled that role with the Mets for several years. And he is a great teacher of the defensive skills of catching.
Well, for a tall catcher like that he was, Sandy Alomar Jr. was an excellent defensive catcher. And there he is. He's kind of blocked by the post. When I played here, he was just a youngster coming up with Carlos Baerga. Albert Bell was on that team. It was the nucleus of that good Indian team later in the 90s.
There goes De Aza. It's hit into right center field. It's going to fall for a base hit. De Aza will go on to third as Davis cuts it off. Granderson holds it first. De Aza tried to score. The relay by Kipnis, and he's out at the plate. De Aza getting a little bit greedy with nobody out. Davis cut it off in the gap. De Aza running on the pitch. A single for Granderson, and De Aza trying to score all the way from first. And got cut down. That's the second Met that's been thrown out at the plate on a good relay by Jason Kipnis tonight.
Well, not a good choice here by De Aza. It's a 6-2 ball game. You're assuming you're going to catch him asleep, and this was not a double, so it was cut off. So I'd like to see what Tuff had in mind here. If Tuff sent him, because it's, you know, you got first and third, nobody out. Would you blow the game open?
8-4-2 on the putout. Well, Kipnis, that's two really good relay throws he's made to the plate tonight.
And I think Curtis is a very good base runner. He's still at first base.
Yep.
I think he was shocked because his back is to the plate. He figured it was first and third all the way.
Well, De Aza's had himself a tremendous night at the plate, but this was just a little bit overly aggressive. Don't want to make the first out at home plate. But that's the second time the Mets have done that tonight. Let's see what the third base coach was doing.
Well, let's see what Tuff on the left of your screen is doing here. Can we see what he's doing? He waved him in, so Tuff got a little aggressive there.
I think you're right. They just thought they could catch the Indians napping.
Right.
And Kipnis is not that kind of player.
I like being aggressive, but in a 6-4 game late, and you got first and third, nobody out. I think with your 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up, you can't take the chance.
Two and one to right with Conforto on deck.
Well, good fundies. This is why you have the outfield practice. And not a great throw. Nice pickup by Kipnis. And another perfect throw. Beautiful one hopper for his catcher. Dead as a doornail.
The first one he threw on the fly from shallow right field to get Walker on a play that was initially ruled safe and then overturned on review. This one clear cut. Perfect one hop throw. Wright is 1 for 4 tonight. He's hit 2 balls hard. Bauer behind him 3-1. And swings through the fastball 3-2.
Another look at it here. Tough hop for Kipnis. Very nice.
And he never hesitated, so there was no catching him by surprise. Three and two with one out. Granderson's running, and Wright fouls back the fastball. The only positive that came out of that entire encounter is that Curtis Granderson got himself a base hit.
Yep. You get your one a day, keeps you above water, keeps you treading water.
Now 4 for 36 to start the season with that base hit. He was running on the first 3-2 pitch to Wright. A little surprising after Bauer threw a fastball by David the previous pitch. Not going this time, and it's ball 4. So the Mets have 2 men on.
Well, this is the Achilles heel of the Indians, their bullpen. One strong inning prior by Bauer, and this inning he hasn't gotten anybody out.
Well, now a chance for the Mets to blow the doors off this game in the 8th inning. They're up 6-2. They squandered a couple of opportunities to have more. Michael Conforto, who's already homered and singled tonight. It's Jeff Manship up in the bullpen for the Indians behind Bauer. Starter Cody Anderson went 4 2/3, allowed 5 runs and 9 hits. Ross Detweiler 2/3 of an inning, 1 run, 2 hits. Jobber Chamberlain 2/3 of an inning, no runs, 1 hit. And now Bauer trying to find his way out of trouble in the 8th. And that one gets by Gomes, and that'll move the runners up.
Boy, this inning is just a big hydrogen bomb for the Indians here. It's a wild, that's a pass ball right there.
Just whiffed on.
Clank. Box it and send me a dozen.
So that'll force the Indians to bring the infield in, down by 4 runs in the 8th. With Granderson at third and Wright at second.
So this is an indication right here where you've got Cespedes in the on-deck circle, a right-hand pitcher, open base, gives Conforto protection. They're going to pitch to him.
Popped it up. Not very deep. Granderson tagging. Ramirez under it, and Granderson will stay put.
Oh,
2 out.
Nothing make you more angry than leaving a man out there like that. Nothing. We've all done it.
Well, the Mets certainly have not maximized their opportunities in this game. A game in which they have 14 hits and have hit 4 home runs. They have but 6 runs on the board. Feels like it should be a lot more.
18 men left on base in this game. 8 by the Mets, 10 by the Indians.
And the Mets have had 2 runners thrown out at the plate as well. So it's left to Cespedes with second and third and 2 out. Mets are 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, which has not helped. Cespedes a triple shy of the cycle. Singled in the first, homered in the 5th, doubled in the 7th. The last 2, the home run and the double, go into right center. And he takes a slider for a strike from Bauer. Last Mets cycle, if I recall correctly, was Scott Hairston in Colorado.
Yes.
In a game the Mets got beat by 9 runs. Right at the shortstop Lindor. And the Mets strand 2 more. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Nonetheless, we go to the bottom of the 8th with the Mets up 6-2. Trivia question for tonight. We asked which 5 Indians pitchers, when they left Cleveland, won more games post Cleveland than Bartolo Colon did. And it's a pretty good group. Tommy John, Sad Sam Jones,
Oh,
Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley, Louis Tion, Jim Perry.
Sad Sam Jones. What, did he not pitch for the San Francisco Giants late in his career, Gary? Am I wrong on that? When the Giants first came over from New York? I could be wrong. I know it was Jack Sanford, Johnny Antonelli came over. that first year.
So the outfield changes for the Mets. De Aza moves to left. Lagares now in center. And Addison Reed will pitch the 8th. Sad Sam Jones was not the guy you're thinking. You're thinking of Toothpick Sam Jones.
Maybe not. Let's see.
Sad Sam Jones pitched back in the teens and 20s.
That's sorry. So my mistake.
You gotta, you gotta differentiate your Jones. You got the Sam Jones with the sweet bank shot.
Yes. I was right about Johnny Antonelli and Jack Sanford, though. And Billy Pierce was part of that team. Remember Billy Pierce, the left-hander? Mike McCormick.
Yeah, the lefty won the Cy Young. Yeah, Toothpick Sam Jones pitched for the Giants 59, 60, 61. Won 21 games 1959. Marlon Byrd leading off in the home 8th against Addison Reed. And he lifts this one to right. Granderson easing over. 1 out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. By Affinity Health Plan, serving the healthcare needs of New Yorkers for more than 30 years. And by National Car Rental. Go National, go like a pro. Well, here is Juan Uribe, who has made a statement here tonight. The "you should have re-signed me" statement. 3 for 3, 2 singles and a double. And he's got great numbers against Addison Reed, 3 for 5 with a home run. But this one he lifts to right field. Should be easy for Granderson. And Uribe is retired for the first time tonight. There are 2 men down. So 2 up and 2 set aside. Now Jose Ramirez will bat for the second time. Came up as a pinch hitter in the 6th. And struck out against Antonio Bastardo. Bartolo Colon went 5 1/3, allowed 2 runs, 8 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts. He's in line for his first win of the year. And if he gets it, he will be tied with Pedro Martinez for the 2nd most wins ever by a Dominican pitcher. Juan Marichal won 243. Pedro Martinez 219. And Colon, if he gets the win tonight, would also have 219 wins. Antonio Bastardo backed him up with an inning and a 3rd perfect. Hansel Robles gave up a double and a walk, but then got a strikeout to end the 7th. And now Reed trying to finish off the 8th. Lined over short. Ramirez has a base hit. De Aza will get it back in. And there's a 2-out hit for Jose Ramirez.
Ramirez would have loved to have flipped his at bats. He had 2 men on in scoring position when he struck out back in the 6th to end the make the 2nd out.
So the Tribe have their 10th hit. And here's Rajay Davis, who had a broken bat single back in the 5th. 1 for 4 on the night. So there have been 24 hits in this game, but only 8 runs. Each team has left 10 runners on base. Reed, who used to work in the American League Central when he pitched for the White Sox, gets ahead on Davis 0-1. Next SNY telecast will be the final game of this series on Sunday afternoon. That's Steven Matz's start. Coverage begins at 12:30 Sunday afternoon right here on SNY. Tomorrow's game will be on Pix 11. Matt Harvey will start tomorrow. A 4 o'clock start. So if it's a sunny day, which it's supposed to be, shadows could be a huge issue for the game tomorrow afternoon. 1-2 to Davis. Slider misses. Rajay Davis, whose first name means king in Sanskrit. But you knew that.
Of course. Anyone with that Rudyard Kipling would know that.
Reed blows him away with a fastball, and that'll do it for the Indians in the bottom of the 8th. That's 9 strikeouts for Met pitching tonight, and we head for the 9th with the Mets up 6-2. And the NFL draft, and probably some baseball too on Geico Sports Night. Dan Otero, who pitched last year in Oakland, on for the Indians in the 9th.
Did not have a good season last year. Am I correct? And there's not one Canadian team that made the playoffs in hockey?
That's correct. First time since 1970.
Really?
I think it was.
Wow.
Dude is 1 for 4 tonight, and he hits one toward the middle, and that's where Lindor is playing. By the way, I've meant to ask you all night, Keith, do you like the horizontal stripes on the Indian socks?
Not crazy about them. I don't like. I've always thought that socks look better when they have the white stripes.
Now you were partial to the red, to the
well, the Cardinals are. I like the Red Sox too. They're very similar. But I don't like the black stripes. There's got to be like a white if you want a black border. I don't know. Just that doesn't do it for me, Gary.
That's why I asked, because you are the fashion guru in this booth.
I do like uniforms. I like them to be good looking. I like the old Indian uniforms when they were sleeveless.
Oh, we were watching some video of Louis Tion pitching for the Indians in the early 60s.
I like that uniform. I liked it when the Pirates were sleeveless back in the days of Clemente Stargell and Dick Grote.
And the Reds had the sleeveless uniforms.
The Reds, I never were crazy about their uniforms.
Well, they had those weird numbers and names, which I was not partial to. I do like the new caps that the Indians have with the C on them.
instead of Chief Wahoo.
Well, they've got the Wahoo on the caps they're wearing tonight, but they've really incorporated the C more and more, and Chief Wahoo is getting phased
there
out.
It is.
There's
there
the
it is.
C cap. I think it's a really good-looking
Yes.
letter.
And it's old school.
Walker strikes out on a pitch in the dirt. Gomes throws him out for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on now is Dribble Cabrera, who has been on base all night. A double, a walk, reached on an error, hit by a pitch.
Question for you. Which uniform was ugly? The 80s Houston Astros with all that orange and whatever, or the muddy Padres?
I did not mind the Astros uniforms because I felt they were unique to them at the time. I never liked the mustard and mud, although now when they bring it back for the occasional nostalgic performance, it's not bad. My least favorite current uniform. Did you see the road uniforms the Diamondbacks are wearing?
I did not. Hideous.
So far beyond that, it's almost hard to fathom.
It's like the 49er uniform they wore on opening day last season when it was all in black. I was horrified.
It's like some of those uniforms the Oregon Ducks come up with. Our director, being an Oregon Duck, just took exception to that. Of course, Dan knew it was pointed in his direction anyway.
But to me, I think the Astro uniform was the ugliest uniform I'd ever laid my eyes on.
No, the worst ever was the White Sox shorts.
Oh, Bill Veeck days.
Didn't get any worse than that. Cabrera went around strike 3. And so Dan Otero has a 1-2-3 top of the ninth with a couple of strikeouts. That sends us to the bottom of the ninth in Cleveland with the Mets up by 4.
He did not swing.
On SNY is brought to you by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or online at mybobs.com. By Empire City Casino, Manhattan's closest casino. Game on. By the Better Network, Verizon. Better matters. And by Jeep, now celebrating its 75th anniversary. Addison Reed, who pitched a scoreless 8th inning, will stay on to start the 9th for the Mets. Jason Kipnis will lead off for Cleveland. He has 2 doubles, driven in a run, scored a run tonight, 2 for 4. The Mets 6 runs and 14 hits. The Indians 2 runs and 10 hits. Mets have hit 4 home runs tonight, including 3 of them in the 5th inning. Their first 3 home run inning on the road in 10 years. It'll be Kipnis, then Francisco Lindor and Mike Napoli as the Indian fans try and get the rally hats going. And Kipnis has his 3rd hit of the night.
Oh yeah, nice night. Swings the bat, got a nice, stays on top of that pitch above the waist. Not a lot of hitters today. Most have difficulty upstairs with uppercuts. Watch him stay on belt high, stays right on top of it. Look at the follow through. Almost on a level plane. Beautiful swing. Nicely done.
Well, I am sure that Terry Collins would love to stay away from Jeurys Familia, who worked 3 straight days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and give him a 2nd straight day off. But Familia's up now and 1 more base runner, and I'm pretty certain they'll be in the game. Here's Lindor, who's 0 for 4 tonight, and he bloops one behind short, falling fast. De Aza diving to make the catch.
Nice.
Alejandro De Aza with a terrific play to rob Lindor for the first out.
What a night for De Aza. A breakout night for De Aza. A lot of breakouts tonight offensively. And for De Aza defensively as well.
Made a little mistake with an overly aggressive base running play, but his aggressive fielding there pays off handsomely. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Mike Napoli, who's 2 for 4, a single and a double. So Reed getting some help behind him as he tries to finish this game and keep Familia on the sidelines. Jeurys is up, but he's not throwing hard right now. I think the plan is to try and keep him out of this game. Mentioned earlier that when Familia threw a 5-out save pitching on the 3rd straight day, no Met had done that since Turk Wendell in 1999. That's how rare that is, being asked to go the extra mile as a closer pitching on a 3rd straight day.
And Wendell had a rubber arm also.
Yes, he did. That's golf to center. Lagares eases over, and he's got it 2 out.
Sit down, Familia. He's had enough throwing.
Turk, I think, once pitched in 9 straight games for the Mets, which I believe is the club record.
Stomping around the mound, throwing that rosin bag around.
He was entertaining.
Jumping over the line, the foul line. It was a piece of work. It was a good group. I like that team.
It was very entertaining.
I like that team.
Well, Robin Ventura and John Olerud, Mike Piazza, and Edgardo Alfonso, was hard not to.
Right.
Leiter'd kill me if I didn't mention him. Al Leiter.
Yes. Oh. I mean, 19-game Al.
Santana deep center field. Lagares back near the wall, leaping, and it's out of here. Carlos Santana trims the Mets lead to 2 with a 2-run homer, his 2nd of the year. And with 2 out of the 9th, the Indians are alive. It's now 6-4 New York. Well, Santana had a home run earlier tonight, called back. This one will stick.
Right down the pipe fastball in the wheelhouse. And I guess Terry's going to go to the big guy.
Well, it's now a save situation for Familia with the tying run on deck. Lagares gave it his best effort, just came up shy. And it's going to be Jeurys Familia to try and get the final out tonight in Cleveland. Reed is out after giving up the home run. Familia coming in. We'll be right back to Cleveland. 4th straight game, albeit with a day off. Jerry's Familia.
Well, in a perfect world, Terry would have liked to put him in his back pocket and close the zipper on him and give him another day off.
Well, he only has to get 1 out to secure his 3rd save of the year. They'll take on Yan Gomes. If Gomes gets on, Marlon Byrd would come up as the tying run. And I don't think the Mets want to see that.
This is a 9-game road trip. You want to start it out on the positive.
Gomes is 0 for 4 tonight. Struck out twice, and he goes swinging on the first pitch from Familia.
And there's the hard sinker that I didn't see all spring from Familia. And he has got it back. Has a tough pitch to hit.
That's at a 6-1 lead in this game. It's now 6-4, and Familia trying to put it to bed. Ball and a strike to Gomes.
Going hard too.
Braves got their first win of the year, beat Miami 6-3 after starting out 0-9. The Nats won again tonight, routing the Phillies. They're now 8-1. 1-1 to Gomes with 2 out. And he lines one into center field, and the Indians will get the tying run to the plate with Marlon Byrd coming up.
Wow, that ball was ripped. Fastball out over the plate.
Well, in a game where the Mets had a 5-run lead, it's going to come down to this.
Nice hitting. That was not a bad pitch. Straight. That ball straightened up. He's been inconsistent with that sinker.
So the former Met Marlon Byrd will be the tying run at bat.
Very nice.
Byrd is 2 for 9 in his career against Familia. He's 1 for 4 tonight. He's singled back in the 2nd inning. And he goes after the first pitch sinker, 0-1. He was asked to get 5 outs for the save Wednesday, asked to get only 1 out tonight. And Byrd lays off, but it goes off d'Arnaud's mitt to the backstop. And it will merely take off the force and move Gomes to second. Wild pitch charge to Familia. Drum is pounding.
Terrible on day games, particularly if you've been out late.
Oh, and that one skips in. 2-1. Just to make it even more intriguing, if Byrd gets on, Juan Uribe would be next. And Uribe has had a big night.
Oh my gosh.
Tribute to Marlon Byrd, I guess.
It's been a long winter here.
2-1 to Marlon. 2-2. So now the Indians are down to their final strike, and before Familia throws his next pitch, d'Arnaud is out to talk about it. Down yell the drum. Two and two to Marlon Byrd. Broken bat bloop. Walker out. Lagares in. It's in for a base hit. Gomes comes in to score. A shattered bat single for Marlon Byrd cuts the Mets lead to 6-5.
And a pinch runner for Byrd. Here's the fastball. Not much sink, but it gets in on him. And he's just strong enough to bloop it out there.
And Colin Cowgill, another former Met, will come in to run for Byrd, carrying the tying run. So Cowgill the runner, Uribe at the plate. And he takes the slider low for ball one. So Familia called upon for a fourth straight game. Gives up a hard hit to Gomes and a broken bat hit to Byrd. And now Uribe, who's got 3 hits tonight, can win it with one swing for the Indians.
And don't forget the blooper that Diaz made the nice play. This would be a tie ball game if that ball dropped.
3 runs are home in this bottom of the ninth. Another slider and another one out of the strike zone, and now it's 2-0 to Uribe. Mets led this game 6-1. They've had 2 runners thrown out at the plate. They've had 14 hits. They've left the door open, and the Indians trying to crash through. Familia behind on Uribe, 2-0. And now 3-0. Wow. There's no safety net up behind Familia in the bullpen. Addison Reed was asked to go a second inning, got 2 outs, but then gave up the 2-run homer to Carlos Santana. The Indians have put together 3 runs on 3 hits since they were down to their final out. And now Familia behind 3-0 on Uribe. And he walked him, and that puts the winning run on base. And Dan Warthen quickly out to the mound.
Well, 12 pitches in so far for Familia, and erratic with his command. And he's got to face Jose Ramirez here, who came in late in this game. This will be his second situation to drive in a run, and this is a big one for him right here.
He pinch hit in the 6th inning with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Antonio Bastardo came in and struck him out. He had a base hit with 2 out and nobody on in the 8th, and now with the tying run at 2nd and the potential winning run at 1st, Ramirez will bat for the 3rd time. This time he'll bat left-handed. He had his base hit against Addison Reed as a left-hand batter. Cowgill the tying run at 2nd. Uribe the winning run at 1st. Ex-Mets all over the place. And Ramirez takes it low.
Wow.
Well, it's do or die with Familia. The Mets bullpen is quiet. Each team now with 14 hits. There's a strike. 1-1. Rajay Davis would be next. Ramirez, the 8th man up in the inning. An inning that Reed began, and Familia is having trouble finishing. Ramirez left one to left. This should do it. Diaz is there. And the ball game is over. The Mets staggered to the finish of a game in which they hit 4 home runs and banged out 14 hits. They almost blew a 6-1 lead, but they hang on to win it 6-5 for their 2nd straight win.
Well, 4 home runs. Conforto and Diaz their first.
Cespedes and Walker, their second home runs of the year. A breakout game for the Mets. 5 runs in the 5th on 5 hits, where they hit 3 home runs in that inning, excuse me. So a lot of good things happen offensively this game for the Mets. They needed a game for the offense to break out, and they got it tonight.
Congratulations to Bartolo Colon, career win number 219, tying him with Pedro Martinez for second on the all-time list of victories by Dominican-born pitchers. Mets hit 4 home runs tonight, including 3 in the 5th inning by De Aza, Cespedes, and Walker, and they hang on to win it 6-5 in a game that took 3 hours and 37 minutes. And there you see Colon stacking up with Pedro Martinez behind Juan Marichal on the list of victories for pitchers born in the Dominican Republic. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwellhealth.com/KIWH. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $10,000. Mets win at 6-5. Tomorrow afternoon, Matt Harvey on the mound for the Mets. 4 o'clock start. Coverage on Pix 11 begins tomorrow at 3:30. Back on SNY Sunday with Steven Matz pitching. Coverage begins at 12:30 on Sunday right here on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Progressive Field in Cleveland. Time for WB Mason post-game live.